help them. Blue side, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but it does, you know, it's been chosen every single time, I believe, and it is certainly still the favored side, with that Varus ban still going to be showing itself.
Varus, Kalista, don't think those champions are really going to change too much in the priority. Gonna say some early Bulldog respect as well. The Talia has been positioned at the forefront. Yes, there were nerfs to Yone. It is still Zeka, so I do...
And Zeus.
Yeah, and Zeus, yeah, good point. So I do think that that is still a fine ban. It might also be one of those things where we'll see it ease up as we get deeper into the patch. Very often teams are like, oh, we're not gonna change too much. At least for now. I'm curious to see what the Neferi Prow is gonna be, because Peanut's Neferi was not it. And it did get nerfed. We only had a few junglers that looked good in it when the teams actually played around it. So I kind of hope that the prio on that one just drops off. As the Sejuani ban, actually pretty interesting given that it's one of Peanut's favorites. As Kalista ban on blue side is definitely an interesting one. Didn't really see that one coming.
As Homolife Esports simultaneously banning out their own jungler, taking away his Vi as well. I mean, those are pretty big, prolific picks for any jungler, but especially Peanut. Gwen was left available, so that's just going to be first picked here by Dudu.
It's Rumble or Jace, right? Those are the two that we have as a possibility. I think that the Rumble is going to feel a little bit better when it comes to providing a reliable source of teamfight damage. But Jace's laning is it's just so good. And I do think that that is still going to be the lock-in. They can also postpone picking up the Jace, given that the Gwen is basically guaranteed to go towards the top side of the map. We'll see if Zeus wants to lock it in here, and my expectation is that they lock in a jungler for Peanut here, given that we have already seen a lot taken away. Xin Zhao is there, it's a classic. We see it a lot in previous eras, might have seen the Poppy prioritized, but as a jungler, her stocks have really dropped. Really is exclusively a Delight champion now.
Yeah. And that's a lot of disengage and space creation already with those two picks. But on the side of the DN Freaks, they're just going to continue to commit to this pick and dive kind of strategy. They go for the Neferi and the Ahri. Even after the nerfs, which we did mention, could pick up the Poppy here if you really want to index into just more potential push away. But the problem with that is that you get Jace and Rumble bans if you do that.
I don't love this for DN Freaks. This is a very, very conditional topside, as in the only CC they have is one charm.
Just hit it.
Just hit the charm onto... I guess it's not that bad when it's the Xin Zhao and the Jace, but obviously on the Azir it's going to be tough. And more importantly, I think that this comp can work, but it's very reliant on getting that early mid-jungle 2v2 going. You're playing into Peanut and Zeka, that's already kind of tough. Into notoriously one of the hardest to punish mid laners. And Neferi was just hit super hard on this patch, so not having the most confidence in the DN Freak draft so far. It is a good spread of damage. I imagine they want to go towards Leona or Rel just to get as much CC as possible. We'll see what Life actually ends up locking in, but I think Hanwha Life, his comp is so versatile, right? You have great range, solid team fighting already. Your laning matchups aren't really looking too rough. As Ezreal taken away, does kind of slot into any matchup. And the one thing that I do think Hanwha Life might be a little bit worried about is how can Viper play the game into the amount of dive. Good go for Xayah. I think this is one of the occasions where Xayah actually does make a good amount of sense. There's not a lot of range on the enemy team.
Yeah.
It might also just be Kai'Sa, because Kai'Sa right now is really strong.
Those feel like the two considerations. I'd say you want something with mobility. You know that DNF can't ban all of them. So really it just comes down to what they want to play. They could play Xayah Rakan. Yeah. Or they could just play Xayah and maybe get stolen away. Yeah, you get Delight's Rakan. The Alistar, by the way, is going to... Okay, it's actually Ziggs, which is not the 6-0 Kai'Sa, and it's not the disengaged champion that is Xayah, who also has an amazing amount of scaling. It's another AP champion.
They do have Xin and Jace, so there is still a good amount of AD damage, but they might be lacking when it comes to the consistent damage if they were playing into an enemy team.
Well, maybe it's not Ziggs.
With tanks. I think, I think that it could make sense, but I also don't think it's super likely, given that we have seen Hanwha Life be very happy to put Viper on just just 80 carries. We'll get an update soon, hopefully.
Yeah, if there's any champion out of the ones that have been selected that I think could be an error, it's probably the Ziggs.
Yeah.
Or maybe the Nefiri. But I don't think we would stop it this late if it were the Nefiri. So, yeah, we're probably going to get a redo on that pick. And that is Peanut as Xinjiao himself. So, there you go. She knew. This says win.
I love the vaguely threatening aura. It's like, it's both asking, but it's also demanding.
It's very hopeful, yet...
There's an undertone of, of
Viper.
anger there.
Yeah.
So was it just... Yeah, it's Jigs... Jaya? I don't... Is it written the same?
In Korean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Yeah. They have the same starting letter.
Yeah, that's what I'm...
Yes, you are correct. So, yeah. We'll redo that.
And then
it's not
what,
gonna be
on the opposing team, Nautilus wasn't banned, right?
What if he picks Kai'Sa?
So they can go...
Is that okay?
If it was a... If
it was an error, but now you know, like, oh, they won Kai'Sa.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, we'll see.
I don't know. It's going to be an interesting one to figure out. But, you know, obviously a lot of the Home Life esports players at the moment are just probably making fun of Viper and laughing about it and having some fun.
I mean, Delight always has that energy.
Yeah. This is a lot of congratulations about a lot of different things that I'm not sure about.
I appreciate your translation.
But yes.
If they're not very specific. I love the...
Trying my best.
Pokemon Zeus in the back there. Pokemon Trainer Zeus.
Yeah. I thought Jiwoo was Pokemon Trainer.
It's hard to keep track,
you know,
of all the different ones. And
so yeah, we're remaking the lobby. There was an error with the 4th pick. I would imagine that would be Ziggs.
To the dismay of Daniel Ox Harrison.
Yeah.
Ziggs in this game.
Although, I don't know. Ox watching at home, does he really like that spot for Ziggs?
Not only that, but
I mean,
I think generally it makes him more mad because of what people do with Ziggs. It's like Huni and Rumble, you know? It's like, oh, I love Rumble, but they keep doing the thing I don't like.
Viper would just throw out his satchel and then die to Nefiri immediately. He's like, what are you doing? No.
I don't know if you can really know what Ox is thinking, though.
Yeah.
No, I think you
never know.
I think you need to chill.
He's a trickster.
You definitely don't know.
He's the warlock, you know?
Yeah.
We talked about the D&D classes. He is the warlock.
There's actually someone on Twitter that wrote a really detailed, really good. It was actually amazing, with much more knowledge than we had when we did that. Because definitely didn't have enough knowledge to actually make that work.
No.
It's really nice.
We tried our best. We play a lot of different RPGs and stuff over our time, so we know
we know the archetypes, but actual D&D knowledge is not my forte. So what do we feel? Is it just Zaya?
If I'm Viper, I just take away that Kai'Sa. It's just like, all right, I'm gonna lock it in then, since you want to play it. No, I think.
Well, I imagine as soon as they locked it in, they probably communicated, or like you have the comms, right? So. But I'm feeling Zaya. I think they're already showing a good amount of dive, kind of a no-brainer. And then they go Kai'Sa Nautilus. I know the Pike was being hovered, but I think Kai'Sa Naut makes a ton of sense. Can go Rel as well because the Alistair has been taken off the board.
Yeah. Well,
it was just Kai'Sa.
All right. Well, Kai'Sa's locked in here on Homolife Esports' side. So as you mentioned, it's probably because they got the communication in on time. And so the fact that it was locked in on the other side, that's not Homolife Esports' fault. So, I mean, still a lot of good choices left. The Corki has been also very successful. Kai'Sa sitting at 6-0 at the moment, whereas Corki pretty high up himself. He is 4-2 as a selection. There is the Rakan. So Rakan will be selected. And now we have Poppy. You mentioned this was the, This is essentially what Delight loves to play in the support role, and it's very good into what they're showing.
Well, it's great into what they're showing. It's also the combo with Azir, again, is one that we used to see all the time last year because of the wall and the fact you can set up very nicely. Yeah, I don't think you're going to be feeling too great here as the DN Freaks. I think the only upside is that the Kai'Sa, even though she has her ult for self-heal, isn't quite as hard to reliably get on top of as something like the Xayah would have been. But you have amazing range, great poke, good damage spread, really good team fighting here for Hanwha Life. And for DN Freaks, I think this comp can work, but you need to excel where you haven't thus far, which is in mid-game. If you get a couple of early mid-game kills on the Fairy, start to snowball the objective, force Hanwha Life to take fights that they don't really want to, I think this comp can work. But DN Freaks thus far haven't really shown that level of play is currently available to them, and one or two mistakes, if you end up in a 5v5 against the Hanwha comp, particularly with how that team has been playing, is going to be really tough.
Yeah, it's definitely not going to be easy. I mean, nameplate's on for this one. It's going to be pretty difficult for DNF, and also this draft. It requires you to get a decent lead moving into that mid game, as you mentioned. So we'll see if they can have that happen, and from there, if they can figure out how to do the math later on in the game to make the right decisions. As here's the comp for Hanwha Life Esports. Looks like we're ready to hop on the rift for game number 1. Let's do it.
소환사의 협곡에 오신 것을 환영합니다. 미니언 생성까지 30초 남았습니다.
Here we go, game number 1. And the DN Freaks got to start out strong here. They did pick the Gwen with both of her lane, I wouldn't call them counters, but at least good matchups for the other sides open. Kind of surprised that Rumble didn't get selected. Just in general, I feel like he's kind of got a higher ceiling in terms of ability as a champion than the Jace, but could just be some bias from watching the games last week.
It's also comfort for Zeus, obviously.
Yeah.
The thing I do really like about Jace is the amount of choice that he has in his runes. I think Phase Rush into Gwen makes a ton of sense. Being able to really hone in on those short trades, because the longer trades, even with Dudu going for Grasp as opposed to something like the Conqueror or Lethal Tempo, which we see a lot in the champion as well, it's definitely going to be a lot harder for Dudu to actually stick on top of the Jace. And then outside, not really seeing anything too surprising when it comes to the setup. I do also want to shout out Pioshik for going the Hot Dog Neferi skin. That one is amazing, and I'm really glad he locked it in.
Yeah, it's very much a Pioshik thing, I think.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I'm glad that we get to see the skins as well as we're loading in. I feel like that's a great addition.
It's fun.
To the LCK this year.
Viper's playing the only Kai'Sa skin, I'm pretty sure. I don't know if I've ever seen a different one.
Yeah. If I have, I think I've blocked it out of my mind.
I don't even know if she has other skins, honestly. Who knows? We will never...
Probably not.
We will never know.
Probably not.
As ooh, Dudu.
Good spacing here by Zeus, although he did get hit by the full snip to the face. Gwen did get nerfed on this patch. Just a bit, but the first pick comes in from Dudu, so he says, not nerfed enough. And is doing a great job, actually, in taking these trades. Is up on levels.
With the level up for Zeus, though, trade still not too bad.
Look at this timing.
Dudu, he's in!
Oh, he's so baited by this. He does have his flash, but red buff Xin Zhao level 3.
There's no way.
And there's the knock-up, although, yep, the follow flash, and now Dudu in a lot of trouble, and they even get the kill over to Zeus. Just insult to injury, as he didn't even go to the bottom side jungle. He just cleared out the top side and went straight top.
Oh, that one really stings. Dudu will be able to TP back, so he's going to be able to catch the wave. But the kill also going over to Zeus. And yeah, credit to Peanut. I think kind of catching off guard. I'm not 100% sure they were able to accurately track where Peanut started. But as you point out, did actually just a full clear and then pathed towards top. So good communication there with Zeus, who obviously was taking some of those trades. I think, you know, I don't know. You never really know how much of it was bait, how much of it was peanut, please come help me. But with the cookies in particular, I feel like you can stay at lower health totals much more comfortably, and Jose is going to catch this crash. Didn't have to TP, by the way, as you already highlighted this, Valdez. Currently 6-0 is the Kai'Sa.
She just is very strong at the moment. I think, you know, the crit build we've been seeing a lot, and that has been finding a lot of success. She works with a lot of different compositions. She can be very hard to pin down, but also works great with dive compositions. So just feels like an overall strong pick, even though we're in a meta where obviously there's no lane swaps, and Kai'Sa could potentially be punished in some of these lanes, but even if she does fall a little bit behind, she's still getting wins.
I do wish Dudu didn't have flash. I think the gank, you know, he can get caught off guard. It's not the end of the world, but flashing when the enemy zins out with red buff is already on top of you, and he has his auto stacked, just... yeah, not the best. And now we'll see how Humble Life can leverage this teleport advantage, because we do have the lane swap for the grubs come out, as we always do. But Zeus can generate... Oh, yeah, Dudu's going to have to catch this wave, then base, and then make his way back. So I think he's going to end up missing out on maybe even a full wave here. He's going to be making that gold lead towards the top side of the map even pronounced as... Oh, Zeus actually holding on to his TPs. Yeah, I was about to say... if he did, it would be for the grubs, right?
Yeah.
Trying hard force, but I think this is the right call. Even with how slow teleport is, getting this wave crash in still allows you to roam towards mid or top if you do want to.
Well, we're going to see Zeus with some free time down on the bottom side. Might even get a plate this early on, especially as Jace with nobody in the lane at all means that you're going to be feeling pretty good. As now Viper is going to have to flash. Just
nice.
Kind of looking at the two of them, and Life pulls the trigger. Viper will be punished for that.
And Berserker has been as highlighted many a time in, you know, nice ways, as in Berserker's great, as in not so nice as please free Berserker from his shackles. With how well he's been performing thus far, so would love to see Pioshik also play heavily towards that. Try and enable him. Although this isn't really a 80 carry 1v9 comp, you know, need the rest of your team to do a lot of heavy lifting. And here we see exactly what I was talking about. The fact that Zeus had that prio, got the crash in, meant that he can roam towards the mid lane here. We'll have to go back to catch this wave, so it does mean that Peanut can only get a single one, and that is courtesy of Berserker and Life. Well done there. Have the prio on top side, meaning that only a single grub will go over the Humla.
Yeah, there was a lot of discussion and interviews after the games last week by Humble Life Esports talking about how they've really put a bunch of time into how they want to play around the grubs specifically. They weren't satisfied with their priority or just how they were taking fights around that area. So coming into this match, I really wanted to see, especially when you're the big favorite, how they handle these situations, how much better they look in grub fights in general. For now, you know, the setup was good, but they did only get the one, so we'll see where it does end up from there. I feel like both Gwen and Jace extremely dangerous with grubs in a side lane. Zeus, the fact that he's ahead, if he gets, you know, up to 4 grubs, if Humble Life can manage that, that could be pretty huge for him for extending that lead.
What's also big with this Jace is that there is no one that can tank the shock blasts, right? Like if Zeus continues to be on this accelerated path, ends up hitting a very early power spike of 2 items, like who actually is able to take any of these blasts?
There's like Celestial Opposition Rakan?
Yes. That's as good as it gets. You know, there's no Cassante, no Maokai, no Sejuani that can shrug it off a little bit more.
Yeah.
So Zeus opts into losing the cannon to get a better back timer. As I say, that just cancels the base.
He just wanted to allow Dudu a chance to catch up.
Well, I mean, there's scenarios where, you know, that's valid. I feel like in that case, though, it wasn't quite as delight. He's going to get his hiding position found, but...
yeah, back canceled. So, wanted to buy more than just a Ruby Crystal, but was denied. And he'll have to stay here and get some XP from the wave instead.
I could have definitely taken that cannon, though.
He really could. I'm not really sure why he just decided not to. He even had a ward in the bush, unless he placed that afterwards. But either way, was not under any imminent danger. Also had his flash. And now looking for the first dragon here, it is going to be Peanut, who does move over towards the Cloud Drake. Meanwhile, Dudu's just going to TP to the top lane.
Well, actually, I like this, because he has they have a window where there is no TP available for Zeus. So now Zeus is going to lose out a decent amount. Nothing too crazy. Jace obviously able to get back to lane pretty quickly, but that's going to be a plate for Dudu, and that's a nice amount of gold being invested here. Actually quite like this as well, invest in the ultimate just to get the crash as soon as possible. And Humble Life also, I'm pretty sure, don't know where Pioshik is, so haven't actually tried and leveraged this into something like the Dragon. And now Dudu should be able to base and then make his way back towards the bottom half of the map. He doesn't want to play aggressively for it, but doesn't look like that's going to be the case.
Yeah, remember when I was like, okay, Peanut's going to go straight for that dragon and take it down? There were so many pings on the dragon, and then he just opted not to. So, very delayed on that, as you were mentioning. And the play around the dragon could be our first big action point here, as Pioshik is looking for the dragon. The mid prio does go to Homolife Esports, as Zeka did win the trade, but TP available for Bulldog if they really want to stake their claim over this, and yes, they will. All four members of DNF are going to group up and take the dragon, and Homolife Esports just say, you can have it. It's fine.
I'm going to contest it. There is also a very valid way of arguing here for Humble Life, which is we don't really need to do too much early. Giving up one Drake definitely isn't going to be too big a deal. And if we get to the teamfight stage, we will just beat this team, who have thus far not looked that great. But it's still nice to see DN Freaks actually being proactive. Again, I think the only person that has suffered a good amount has been Dudu. Both great play from Peanut and also some fault of his own with how that early lane played out. And even the play, it's not really enough to equalize it. And now we'll have to catch the big wave here. I'm pretty sure Zay should be able to pick up a plate for his troubles. Yeah, when you go for the tempo ult into base so you can buy plated steel caps, you know the lane's not going too hot.
Yeah, he's not really enjoying himself up there, is he? Peanut was able to get all 3 grubs, by the way. So that is 4 grubs now for the team and for the Jace, who is ahead. And you're going to be really enjoying that. Nice charm here from Bulldog. Nice amount of pressure. It's not quite enough to, you know, really pressure for the kill, but at least he's pushing him out of lane.
As far as component spikes go, it already was, but Catalyst versus Faded Ashes is going to feel really good. With how strong that build currently is.
Yeah.
We do see Zeka. It's TP back, so we'll be able to pick up most of this. But yeah, I think Humble Life have just said, well, you don't really need to do too much. You can just wait for 1 spike on Jace, as well as the Xin Zhao, and then obviously 2 and 3 spikes for both the Azir, but particularly for Kai'Sa. Are going to go really, really crazy, as Yuntal just now finished. And for DN Freaks, I really do think outside of the Gwen 2 spike is kind of where they peak, where they are at their strongest, and then after that, good luck.
Yeah. Looks like Life here did walk over some wards. There's a lot of pinging and question marks in that exact pixel brush at the top side, so it's not going to be Zeus getting caught out or anything there. As I say that, you know, on vision, Zeus takes that opportunity to go for a quick trade and back away. Very nice timing by him as Life was clearing the ward in the tri-brush.
Rushing Fazley, not allowing Dudu to trade back.
Yeah. And with these first completed items, at least, as might have to hold that Thaw Delight in an awkward spot. Doesn't have his Hex Flash, doesn't have Hex Flash at all, as I believe that was highlighted by the guys last week. Just going for maybe the cheap shot instead, just going that Domination Tree second and not going for Hex Flash seems to be the way of the support Poppy nowadays. But yeah, in terms of the 1 item spikes, at least Zeka seems to be enjoying his time against the not at all stacked Rod of Ages with his Leandries.
Also have, with that early pathing, Peanut actually falling a little bit behind when it comes to just a straight up. Also, Xin Zhao is not known to be the best farm champion in the game. He's fine, but doesn't really stack up. Pioshik also going for Shojin first, which is pretty interesting. Usually we see the early Eclipse prio, rather. And for DN Freaks. I imagine looking for Berserker to get his transformation in the second item and then go a lot harder. We'll also see if HLE want to contest aggressively on this dragon. Because this is some vintage LCK. Fellas, we have 1 kill in 14 minutes. And we've been on topic the whole time.
That's kind of crazy. I mean, bro is playing today. It's just not right now. So generally, I'd be like, oh, it's a bro and brew. We're sitting back. You know, we have our bro and brew. I have some barley tea.
Nice.
Yeah, that's what I'm going with. Chronicler seems to have nothing over there. Oh,
I have
I
have my my giant bottle of water, as you do.
You're a big water drinker.
I am.
You and Ox, it's big on the water, but you go more for like the coffee and the tea, whereas Ox is like strictly a water guy.
Yeah, yeah, that's really the only free drink. Well, that and milk, because you know I'm Dutch.
Yeah, again with the milk, I don't know about that.
Yeah, you know that I remember reading that for some people it's weird to just drink like, you know, like a glass of milk with your lunch.
I mean,
not a thing.
As an American, it's not crazy for me, as there was a big campaign for a lot of us to do that as well, for the calcium.
Oh,
this dive is going to be huge, as the flash is fantastic, though, for Bulldog, but the knockup is even better from Delight. Just makes him look silly under the turret. He uses flash and Spirit Rush and still dies.
Oh, how can play? If that was just Delight, he actually outplayed that, and we'll see. Yoshik might get the... Can he get it off? Oh,
no,
just
the
out of range.
Yeah.
Because I was about to say, that was actually, I think, as well played by Bulldog as it could be, but the fact that Viper is there is a big deal. Unfortunately, I don't know if DN Freaks are actually... Oh, they are, yeah. Going to be able to use this timing window where Bulldog is going to come up soon, has TP, and Viper is dead. Should be a second Drake, and... You know, Bulldog ended up dying, but I actually think that that stall was a big deal, plus the fact that Viper had to invest his ultimate and still ended up, even though it was getting executed, that's 2 dragons.
Ooh.
And Infernal, that's one of the ways where I do see that the Freaks actually get a lot more longevity. The side lane situation, though, is getting increasingly worrying, with now Zaka also approaching a 1k gold lead, and Zay is already floating around that for a good amount of time now.
Yeah, it's basically just, I mean, there hasn't been a lot of action in this game, obviously. It's just a couple of kills isolated for HLE Esports in 2 different moments, but they're still getting huge lane leads. As now Peanut just kind of caught on the Rift Herald. He has his team coming over, and he's Xin Zhao, but he's still forced to flash away from the Rift Heralds. Now we got a TP coming in, though, so DNF not 100% sure if they want to go for this fight here, so they're just going to back away. And they still have that Rift Herald leash, but with Peanut out of the position, he's not going to go for it.
I kind of feel like they would have wanted to. I think the big thing here is that Dudu needs to base. Yeah, there you go. And didn't have his Rift Maker yet. So him not being on the 1-item spike, because he was in the area, and they used Peanut, and Viper didn't have his. So I think that they wanted to gamble, could have taken the opening there, but with that second Drake, things not quite as dire.
Yeah, the 2 Drakes definitely going to be good. And it's good that they've got a couple of stacks and that they rolled a good soul. But this could also really backfire. If you're falling really far behind on gold this early on, and HLE Esports are a team that can also spike pretty decently on 1-2 items, like, you might not get a chance to get another Drake in this game.
No, we're giving DN Freaks a lot of benefit of the doubt, because I feel like maybe whatever they end up doing, it might not work because of HLE being as strong as they have been. We'll see, though. Thus far, gold lead is there. I want to see some action with this mid-jungle duo, though. That, for me, is the crux of this whole composition, especially when Life is in the area as well. And they're going to have to get some picks on side lane. As oh, did I tell you about my new coffee brewer, by the way? I picked up.
No, I didn't hear about your new coffee brewer,
It's
Chronicler.
so nice. You know, it's really just pure aesthetics, but it's shaped like a water lily. It doesn't actually have walls, so you just put the filter in, and then it's beautiful. It's really cool.
That does sound very cool.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. I'm a big fan.
You know, eventually one day when, you know, I don't have work or I don't have to take care of my 5-month-old, you know, maybe I can go over to your house again. I remember those good old days.
And play board games and drink coffee.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, you've been making big strides in your cooking.
That's true.
That actually has been great to watch.
Doing some meal prep.
Yeah.
It's been nice. It's been a nice journey. Thanks, Chronicler.
Yeah, I'm doing really well. It's good to see.
Obviously, with your mentorship, it's been helping out.
Well, I don't think we need to involve me in the conversation. Trying to praise you. Don't need to turn the back around. Oh, cancel there. I think Berserker probably hitting that second item. Does obviously still need a transformation. Still a little whiles away.
Peanut tried to summon that over the wall and just kind of missed. You can still do that, right?
Yeah, you
summon
can.
it over the wall. Like,
Yeah.
That's still a thing.
Yep.
Doesn't really matter. Delays the charge by 0.05 seconds.
Oh, Life found out.
Yeah, Life is seen here. He is recon with Flash. I would imagine that eventually he just, dashes away, but it's still a full mid-turret. And so now they've got 2 turrets ahead. So Humble Life really enjoying their position here.
Zeka also just taken the Herald as an exit. It's like, well, I'm not needed anymore. Let me leave. This side lane problem, though, is going to keep getting bigger, right? I really do want to reiterate that for DN Freaks, with especially like a dive composition like this, if you start losing control of the map and you can never contest prio in any of your side waves, it becomes really hard to play out. And now we have 2-item Spike Zeus with a transformed
oh my God.
Muramana as well. Yeah, he's very big. And then even though Bulldog is going to hit the spike of his Rod of Ages pretty soon, still kind of pales in comparison. A lot of that is farm, a lot of that is ambient gold as well, just picked up by all the turrets that Humble Life have gotten. This next fight is a must-win for DN Freaks. Get the soul point or... yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you know, they have their Corki. He just finished his Manamune.
True.
But it's not Stacks.
No.
And it's decently far away as well, so he's not going to have that on time for the Infernal Drake fight. It does look like both teams do want to fight for this one, obviously.
Nashor's is going to be done as well. We'll see, maybe even Viper, after he picks up this wave, will be able to, but I do think that they don't have the time with the Dragon spawning. So that's at least something. Berserker and Pioshik actually also hitting the 2-item spike here, so we'll have to see if they can do some heavy lifting. This is a must-win for the DN Freaks Valdez. If they don't get the soul point, I think this game is going to slowly but steadily slip away.
Yeah, and really what it comes down to is how you play out this fight. Like, it is a Humble Life Esports lead, but it's not a gigantic lead that's insurmountable by DNF. It's not going to be easy. Bulldog has the angle here on a Zeka. Does a little bit of damage, but, well, Zeka almost still full health. So, not the biggest deal.
It's the puppy. Look at Delight's position here. They need to bait out the W. Otherwise, the dive and the engage just isn't really going to hit the mark.
Yeah. Delight, we talk about his Alistair, we talk about his Rakan. Oh, just going to go in on the Ari here as Bulldog has to use the Spirit Rush. So that's a trade of ults. I would say that Zeka not having Emperor's Divide for the fight, though, is kind of a big deal.
It is, yeah. We'll see. Bulldog obviously not sitting on his 2-item spikes very far behind, but it's going to TP in fresh. I think DN Freaks actually take control here of the river.
Yeah. Shock Blast missing as well. The poke going better for DNF, even with the super fed Jace at this point in time. And might just come down to a flip at this point. So Peanut is in the pit, is now looking for the engage. Not going to hit Pioshik, but the smite still goes to Peanut. Life goes in, but just dies immediately, as that is not the engage you were looking for. Pioshik is burning, and he's just barely going to survive. But again, DNF, it's not a huge amount of deaths, but they lose the Infernal Soul point, and Humble Life get a bigger lead.
If that smite goes the way of Pioshik, that's worth it. You know, giving up life is fine. Ended up going very low. Yeah, I think so, yeah. But even then, Drake ended up going down to, like, what was it, like 100 something?
Yeah.
But not getting that is such a colossal deal, because it's going to mean that now Infinity Edge is done, right? Peanut's going to hit a second item as well. I think from here on out, things are going to get harder and harder for the DN Freaks, even with Bulldog now also hitting a second item. I think that was the moment that they need to hit, particularly with Zeka not having his ultimate.
Yeah. It wasn't even a real team fight, it feels like. It was kind of like both teams sitting by the dragon, seeing who would win the smite fight, and then Life went in, and the rest of the team couldn't follow into the pit because there were threats in Banana Brush, there were threats in the river, and his Rakan, I mean, on his dash out, he died, so he nearly got out, kind of, but the fight was still pretty lackluster, and there wasn't a full committal from the team from DNF, so, yeah.
They need to commit. They can't just sit there and poke. You're playing against Kai'Sa, Azir, and Jace. So, you know, you have Bulldog can do a little bit. Berserker can fire some big ones, but the era of Corki 1v9ing with rockets is long past.
Good times.
No,
Really
bad
enjoyed
times.
that
Bad
meta.
times. Valdez?
Yeah.
You were the arguably the biggest hater of that, which is impressive because we all did not enjoy it.
We do have a lot of haters here on our team. So yeah, this isn't the most exciting game of League of Legends. This is really a thinking man's game because Life Esports have 3 kills, and it feels like the game is over.
Everyone can watch T1 Gen G and be like, oh man, and it was, you know, arguably, time will top it. Maybe possibly the best regular season game of all time in the LCK. Could be. It was incredible. Broke records. But this is where the real LCK fans showed themselves. Because there is nothing happening.
Ah, yes.
You know, this is
the real fans.
The stakes, narratively.
9 match winning streak for Life Esports, though.
That'd be nice if they can bring that.
Could be broken as well. So we've seen many a team just try to send it.
Yeah,
on
flip
the
it.
Otacon.
Why not?
That doesn't work.
No. They have to. Otherwise, they're going to lose the game anyway. I like it.
True.
Just flip it. Get the buff, win the smite fight, take them down, and then the gold lead's gone. Just get the buff.
Yeah, just got to try to flip it. Their one tank just lost Celestial opposition, and the Otacon just leaked.
It reset.
Yeah.
That's not good, Valdez.
So they're just going to ping mid and just go mid instead, while Hanwha, they're like, well,
you can't really do this.
Your attempt at flipping the game did not succeed. We're just going to push mid.
You know when you go for a skill check and it's like a critical failure, and you're just like, well, now what? Just try again?
It's like, I don't know if you've seen videos of like 2 dogs barking at each other through the fence, but then you open the fence and they turn into like, they're like super tame, you know, they don't want to fight at all. But when the fence is there, they're like barking at each other. That was like DNF was the barking dog, and they were like, we're going to do it, we're going to do the Otacon. And Life Esports was actually just calm the whole time. And then the fence was open, and DNF were like, never mind.
Yeah, it really did feel like I've just walked up, looked at them, and then they were like, okay, LA, I don't want no trouble. I'll back off.
Yeah. Yeah. This is,
as you said, Vel, this is
really something.
A thinking man.
If you can't deal with the LCK at its best like this, then you don't deserve us. Wait, I did that backwards.
Wait, no. Actually, I was invested. I was wanting to see where you were going to go with this.
Well, this would be.
If this is the best.
Not as great, then you don't deserve us at our T1 versus Ginge.
Yeah, you know, not everything can be a highlight reel. That's one of the big things. You need to be appreciative of the ebbs and flows of life.
Yeah. Not every day is going to be the best day ever.
No, sometimes you just clock in, have an honest day of work.
You go home, you're like, huh, that was the day.
I will not remember this day.
I enjoyed my time decently. So they're just going to take the Otacon, and DNF say, okay, you can have it. And now they're running away. We'll see how successful that is. As Zeus is frontlining, and he's chasing it, get away from him. He just keeps doing flips in their face. And they're just running away. It's the 3rd time he's done that. Oh no! What happened to Berserker? Where did he go? And he's going to withdraw, sure, but it's 2 kills for Life. And that should be a 2nd Drake as well if they'd like, but they might as well take the Baron instead.
Honest day of work. No, that's... You log into the game, you build a 2K gold lead, you flash into their faces. Oh, just give them... Just give him the dragon!
Oh, they're not allowed to
give him
this.
something!
They're not allowed to have this. Honestly, they shouldn't have even tried. Like, there's no world in which Life let them have Infernal Soul Point.
Well, Bulldog is able to TP out. Does not lose to the Grump like some legends before him.
Multiple legends.
I still miss you,
Yeah.
As now both the buff. And, you know, DM Freaks, they went for the Hail Mary, didn't work. Life takes control of the pit. And I want you to see how little Zeus cares. This is a level 9 Rakan and a level 14 Neferi, and he has the buff.
Berserker, watch his health bar.
He's flashing on top of him!
How do you even react to that? He
He didn't need to do that!
He didn't barrier or flash, because he just died in 0.2 seconds instead. He can't react to that. Although, I mean, when you take the initial flip, maybe you flash then.
This is really some very, very cool subversion of storytelling here by Humble Life, because all you want is action. You know, that's what you think, but then they give you the action and it kind of hurts.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like, oh no, I gotta look away. And it's another reminder that the best LCK game is one where there was as little action as possible.
Exactly. Violence is not the answer, ladies and gentlemen. We're just gonna never
Make
mind.
it quick.
We're just gonna end them immediately. Although that's a lot of damage from Bulldog as he nearly dies. Reminder: they still have the Otacon buff here, but yeah, they're just playing very, very aggressively because they do not care. 11,000 gold in the lead. The one guy who doesn't have the Otacon buff is the Jace. Zeka goes in. Even Delight is sending it into two people as the Otacon buff is no longer around. And Humble Life are like, oh, maybe we should back away. And that they will.
Merely a delay of the inevitable, Veldes, as we take another look here. Humble Life clearly kind of going crazy here. Peanut just flashing in, Viper diving into the midst of many people. Bulldog actually doing a good amount of damage here, meaning that Peanut ends up going down, which means the front line is gone. And then Zeus doesn't need to be that far up. They are taking the inhib, and then he just walks up instead, ends up going down, and then the timing here ends up working out very nicely for the DN Freaks, as Delight and Viper go, you know what, we don't need to be here.
Yeah.
We can just leave, and they do.
The Otacon buff on Zeka expired while he was in Zhonya's. So it was actually better to not Zhonya's.
And that's Brendan Velda saying that.
Yeah.
That never happens.
It's the strongest item in the game. It's a lot more expensive nowadays, but it's still the strongest. Delight is sending it into 4 people because I guess why not? You know, this is how teams get back into games, by the way. Just make enough mistakes like this. I don't think it's going to happen, but yeah. Not really showing the respect to DNF at this moment.
Yet another reminder that sometimes violence is not the answer. You know, maybe don't jump into 4 people.
I don't think that's the phrase, Chronicler. I don't think there's a sometimes at the beginning. I think it's just violence is not the answer.
We're playing League of Legends, you know, like they're gonna have to take down the Nexus eventually. Unless
in League of Legends. Oh, blast cone, the disengage cone denied. We might actually have some action. Peanut in a bit of trouble. He is quite tanky, but he will be taken out. The TP as well, utilized, but it doesn't really get anything. And so another kill goes to DNF. And this was an 11,000 gold lead that's now 7,000 gold.
it's getting smaller.
Yeah.
As Pioshik straight up sends it. And this is what this comp wants to do. And obviously this is also kind of being allowed by Humble Life by just handshaking on these silly plays. Started off kind of by Delight there in bot lane. But this is what the comp wants to do, right? They have a ton of mobility, really easy ways to get backline access. They just don't want to fight an actual 5v5. So if they keep doing this for like 10 more minutes, you know, Maybe there's a chance, Veldes.
There's always a chance.
Can you
if
imagine?
The Nexus is alive.
Always. Inhibitors are about to come back up in, you know, only 2 minutes. That's not that much. It's a good amount of time, though. They also are not going to lose Soul. Just Soul Point, which is fine. Really struggling with what the actual takeaway from this is. I'm trying to learn.
I think, you know, every team in the LCK can have happy gaming, and Humble Life did a bit of happy gaming.
Well, it wasn't happy, though, at the beginning. It was very structured.
Yeah.
And very tightly wound.
And then they thought, okay, we have an 11,000 gold. They don't know exactly how much, but we're very far ahead. We can just do whatever we want.
And then they did that. And then it turned out that they couldn't. As okay, the TP.
The flank TP, as Zeka has the most damage by far, by the way. Here comes Bulldog. He's going to miss that charm. Peanut goes in onto him, gets charmed up himself. But no follow-up is there. And holding the windmill is Delight. And so no engage will come through for DNF. And that's just going to be another Infernal Drake over to Homolife Esports, especially with 2 inhibitors still down. They really can't reliably leave their base after a fight like that.
Maybe it's about resilience.
You mean the message that Homolife is trying to send?
We need to find out what they mean by this.
Yeah, what do they mean by this? It's kind of hard to tell.
Maybe it's not Hanwha's story, but it's DNF's, and they're not giving up. You know, we're still TPing, we're looking for flanks. Gwen is about to get a death cap. That's a huge spike. Still have the arm guard, by the way. Cannot give this up, but the ward not spotted. Oh.
Immediate TP, they should know, but look at the damage here out of the Baron. Pyosik trying to get in, but he's just denied by Steadfast Presence the whole way. And he's not even going to try to, like, flash and ult into that one. They didn't quite have the vision to get in. There was a control ward. So that's just Baron over to the side of Homolife Esports.
Oh, I love that from Life there. That's if they try to collapse and take the shortcut there, they could have actually turned, but Homolife not cutting any corners. This time around, actually walking around, literally not cutting corners. And now with the Baron buff, Finger Nexus is about to fall, Valdez.
There's still a chance as long as the Nexus is alive. That's what I've learned from this game. I think Homolife Esports are trying to give us that lesson.
It's a lot of layers, certainly.
Yeah. We're trying to get in onto the Jace. That is a lot of flashes, but immediately Peanut comes in like the hero and says, get down, Mr. Zeus. And now we've got the engage coming in. Nice Zhonya's from Bulldog. I'm not sure it's going to be enough, though. Viper in the base, just taking everybody down. He does get extremely low, though, as Pyosik doing an incredible amount of damage with Berserker. But unfortunately, they lost whatever frontline they had, as in goes Delight, and he's got Viper for the backup. Zeka face checks the brush, still wins the fight, and Pyosik will live with his dogs, but that is not going to be enough to save his Nexus, as game 1 will go to Homolife Esports in enough time as was necessary.
In due time, Homolife take their win. That game was, for the first 50 minutes, actually pretty close. Some small leads were being gained, then 10 minutes of DNF kind of getting devastated by being pulled around the map, not being able to really play the game, and then 10 minutes of fun from Homolife as they were just kind of diving in back to back. But as much fun as we had, I think the result was never really in question. We'll see if DNF can find a different angle. For me, this comp, as soon as it doesn't get going in the first 15-20 minutes of the game, is just always going to be fighting an uphill battle. And that's not going to work against a team like Homolife.
Yeah, really like the way that Hama played out that early game to just get incremental leads, nothing crazy, no huge risks, until, of course, later when they had the ability to do so. You can see the graph kind of unsure of itself, went way down, went up a bunch, and then went way down at the end. Homolife Esports did take the win. Zeka most damage in the game, even with the very fed Jace, wasn't enough to overcome his teammates. So there you go. Homolife Esports take game number 1 in extremely interesting fashion. And we'll see if game 2 can outdo it. As guys, we'll take a break and have the space. We'll be right back.
조금만 봐. 나 공격 20초. 야, 여기 간다, 여기 간다. 미드. 발 빨았고 한타 빠지고 왜 한타 빠지고 그냥 봐도 돼 이제 봐도 돼. 야 조냐야. 봐줘. 라카 먼저. 네. 폴키 아팔끼리. 폴키. 아리 볼게. 아리 잡았어. 오케이. 왼 노텔이거든. 야 플래시 배치 해봐. 밀치야 밀쳐봐. 씨발 내라. 앞뒤리 노플이래. 잡아줘.
But yeah, we're getting ready for the draft here.
That's why they call him Fashionista Brendan.
Yes, and a little update, guys. We do have, we did have something happen during the pick ban phase of Game 1. Hololive Esports attempted to pick Kaisa, but due to a technical issue, Ziggs was locked in instead. The pick ban phase was restarted in accordance with the rules. So if you guys were wondering why it was restarted and why the Kaisa did go over to Viper, because that was his intended pick all along. So that's what happened there. He did not want to play the Ziggs. Ox is crying at home, but that's fine. It's not fine.
I have no
sorry,
notes.
Ox. Yeah.
Are you really getting to the point where now you're apologizing for not being there for it?
Yeah. You know.
We do have the Rumble getting banned away in first rotation this time around. Renekton also getting denied. That to me is screaming. We are B1ing Mbessa.
Mbessa.
Yep.
So did they ban it, or did they say, well, we don't really care about that, we'll pick something else?
Yeah, it is Zeus, so I do think that is going to be the case. We'll see. Mbessa is obviously very resilient. It's just going to be the Kalista instead, which banned on blue side last time by DN Freaks. And with Varus already gone, you can't really go for the classic trade as mild shock. Good foreshadowing, though, here from DN Freaks, which I do appreciate.
Yes.
As a narrative device.
You know, we really need a cast with you and Wolf, because then you could actually dig deep on, like, all the literary terms, the themes, the metaphors, and stuff like that.
I do love overanalyzing.
Yeah, for me, I did not enjoy that very much at all. I liked reading, but actually writing essays and stuff, not my thing.
Yeah, that was all I did a long time. Oh, it was actually,
imagine having a law degree.
It was actually really funny because a lot of my my friends were in actual science and they had to look at someone and they're like, you're not actually doing science, you're just writing random stuff. And yep, that's how it goes. As we do have the Ezreal, Prio remaining sky high, Peanut still very much in possession of his Nidalee card. He's like, I get to have fun? Fun champion for me? and yeah.
For me?
Yeah, he's earned it. He's been really good in the pick. Even though some people, me included, were big doubters initially. Definitely is one of the players still in possession. And I know that Sejuani is good, but I will never feel great about locking in Sejuani into Nidalee because the whole reason we saw Nidalee, come back, I think, in the more recent was because of the matchup.
Yeah.
Into Sej specifically. As a mid-jungle duo, any non-AD pick is going to feel kind of bad, but maybe they don't want to commit to the Tristana early on, as maybe Humble Live just don't really care about their mid-jungle 2v2 at all.
Zed?
Well, that would be
Vladimir?
fun, but I don't think we're getting that. It's going to be the Ryze instead. Actually, marginally better because at least it has setup. So that's something. You can set up for the Spears. Yeah. Obviously, it doesn't mean that buying resistances is a lot easier. I do wonder if DN Freaks end up banning like Camille and another AD pick. Zeus needs to lock in an AD champion here, right? They're already really heavy towards AP. If you lock in triple AP, it gets even worse, and itemization becomes really lopsided. So I wouldn't mind DN Freaks just further protecting this Mbessa and kind of pinch. I know Zeus will be able to pick something that'll be good nonetheless, but it does make it a lot harder. Imagine where normally something like the Gragas comes to mind, right? Which we know Zeus plays at a really high level. You can't do that when you already have Nidalee and Ryze.
Yeah. Maybe Jax.
Like Jax Camille bans?
Yeah. I was thinking about other stuff that's not Camille. The Camille. Okay, well, it's Skarner. I almost expected the draft to like just drop and, you know, we'd like go into like, oh, there was a little bit of an issue with the pick ban. No, it's just top Skarner ban here.
Or they're
DN
thinking
Freaks.
it's top 80 Nidalee.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the Shy played that like last week.
Sure.
Yeah, Zeus can. You know, if anyone would, it would be him.
Because you just don't ban any top champions, because it's definitely top 80 Nidalee.
Well, I do think Camille can struggle into Talia. You know, it's hard to actually get on top of the backline, so maybe that's one of the reasons.
Just flash R.
Are we going to save counterpick for Delight? Because obviously, we don't really need to. We already know what Zeus is playing into, so I would much rather see him pick a counterpick. It's going to be Gnar. It's not super exciting, but it is one of his best champions. Nidalee Gnar is definitely one of the most volatile 2v2s that I can imagine, because it's purely execution-based. You know, it's not Sejuani Jax, something that kind of plays itself. As I'm loving the DN Freaks draft. I think that they have something that is a lot better. Zeri Berserker has been the best performing member on this team. What is it, Zeri Lulu?
No, it's just Tristana.
Ooh, one more aggression then.
Alistair's available. I know that's not really the...
You kind of have to, no? Otherwise, Delight gets Alistair. And you can't really pick Rel.
Yeah.
Because then they will respond with Alistair, and you're playing into Delight's Alistair. I feel like it's kind of a must. It's even like Tristana Alistair goes way back. That's a classic combo.
That's why I was saying, you know, maybe not in this era, but I think your points are valid, Chronicler, because now it's an extremely easy Alistair pickup here. You could also...
Can go Braum and really make their life unpleasant.
Yeah. You know, Rel also available. I think there are a decent amount of choices for him. We just know him so much for the Alistair. But yeah, he's just going to pick up the Rel.
Yeah. Gets the most CC. That I do really like, because the Rel has obviously an incredible amount of AoE teamfight CC. And that's the one thing that they were really lacking. You only have Mega Gnar, and then the setup from Ryze. That's not really too crazy. The poke, though, from Humble Life, I think is going to be feeling great. I like this comp from DN Freaks, though. I do think that you have a lot of comfort for everyone. Champions are strong, you have great front to back, good engage. Range isn't even too bad, particularly when you get to the later levels with Berserker. But nameplate's on. Are they going to be able to navigate the mid to late game? That for me is a big if. And also the laning phase. Zeus has really shown us before that he can bully people. And Bessa early on, not necessarily the craziest. We'll have to see if this time Dudu can make it through. That's
can he make it through?
I can relate to that energy on the
Why
line.
is the right sign mirrored?
I don't know. I didn't see it.
It wasn't even... Yeah, it wasn't like it was upside down. It was just mirrored.
Interesting.
I don't even know how you do that. It's crazy.
The meta and the tech for these fan signs, it keeps changing every single day, Veldes. We need to stay on top of that as well.
Yeah. Well, we got Fire Tristana. I love the ringing bells. It's a big fan, not fan favorite, a big favorite of mine. As we have Ryze here for Zeka, alongside of Peanuts Nidalee, one of the Nidalee card holders. We'll see how he performs on it here. Gnar for Zeus, it all kind of just makes sense over there. As we are ready, let's hop into the ring for game number 2.
소환사의 협곡에 오신 것을 환영합니다.
Game number 2, DNF need a win here. Otherwise, it's just a straight up 2-0.
I was thinking, who else is still in possession of their Nidalee card? So Kenya's, he's the one that invented it.
Yeah.
So obviously he does. Cuz I think is unfortunately his is revoked until further notice.
Yeah, I mean...
Is it just Lucid?
Does he have a Nidalee? I don't think he has a Nidalee card.
He did. Yeah, definitely did.
I think he has a Lee Sin card. I don't know if he has a Nidalee card.
Yeah, last season. Well, I'm not, you know, the number one.
That's why I'm hesitant to believe, because
well,
you're saying
that's valid.
You know?
That's valid.
If Atlas was saying it, I'd be like, okay,
Owner,
100%.
Owner, I feel like he has the card, but he's like, I don't really
want this.
I don't really want. Yeah, that's just not.
But when he pulls it out, it's like, okay, I really want it.
I mean, he is.
And
one
he
of
has
the, he is one of the best junglers in the LCK for a good reason.
And his Nidalee is really insane, so it's definitely a good shout.
It's a team thing, though, right? I think he likes his Nidalee card, but the team's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
He needs you to just go in and be Xin Zhao, and he's like, oh well, all right, guess I'll do that.
Alrighty.
Do we have any other champion where you need a card, like to the same degree? Not really, right?
Not really. There have been some moments where casters have said it for other difficult champions. Although nothing really comes to mind immediately.
I don't think anything is like at the same level of the champion just oscillates between
I think we
completely overpowered and doesn't do anything.
Yeah, I think we mentioned it with Peanut played Neferi and we revoked his Nidalee card even though he didn't have one. I think that was the joke.
Is the fairy card, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure.
I think that might have been the angle. I'm trying to remember.
Well, yeah, Peanut tries to do a bunch of things, right? There's, I think, no other player that has many picks that make you go, oh god, please no. Between the Shyvana and the Zyra, and then the Neferi is, Bulldog!
Bulldog, he has to flash the Q this early on against a level 3 Rise. Not a good start for Bulldog.
In Italy as well. Well, good luck in that lane.
Yeah, if you get flash 2-second ring prisons, you just die as Nidalee, or as Taliyah.
Yeah. Not great. Taliyah is one of the... going in?
He is indeed going in.
Oh, the two-man Q.
Yep. And the Tristana also gets ignited by Delight. Really trying to exert as much pressure as possible early on into the early level Tristana. Peanut is here. I'm gonna try to land a spear. That lands immediately on the Dudu. He's 2 autos away from death. But it's just a straight up spear. Pyosik took that moment to take the Scuttle Crab on the top side of the map, so not half bad for him.
Woo! If Pyosik was on the bottom half of the map, Dudu's dead. There's
Going in here on a Mega Gnar.
yeah, a lot of sustain there for Dudu, so I think it's understandable that he still is trying to go in. As we do have Pyosik not being too unhappy with the whole sequence of events, because the gang didn't actually end up mattering too much. Dudu was still fine, and Peanut now a little bit behind in tempo as he has to go for the cross map to pick himself up his own Krabby.
Yeah. It's very telegraphed where he was going, so Bulldog's able to push up, get this wave crash. Might get his lane, or his back canceled, rather. And yeah, he's just gonna have to go back to lane awkwardly. Meanwhile, we got swaps down to the bottom side here. Both the top laners going bot. Our bot laners going top. Looking to play over the grubs, as is customary nowadays.
See the swap every single time. Nice little continuation of were you able to generate some early lane pressure. It means that you can get there earlier, means that you can get the shove in. Also sold the light roam mid just to clear out the ward, and then life a little bit later does the same as Zeus.
Well, he's going to hit Mega Gnar at least, but I don't know if he gets out of this one, especially with the permafrost landing. The heal comes in, but it's not enough. First blood goes over to Pyosik Sejuani.
And it's a flip of what happened in the last game. Zeus this time gets over-aggressive. Nice punish there from Pyosik. If Peanut Spear hits Dudu there, ends up dying, but hits Pyosik. Pyosik not too bothered. Nicely done here early on. As we take it out, look, I think Zeus feels relatively safe because he's up a level. He has Peanut towards his side of the map. But then that's right there. That moment, the aggressive hop ends up being his demise. And then the flash. The permafrost is stacked, my man. You are not getting out of there. Even if you flash towards Peanut, if this is like a 2-item Italy, probably you're able to turn it around, but we're 5 minutes in. So
Why isn't Peanut 2 items in yet?
Well, maybe time to appeal the, what is it, him getting his card. We could appeal that, right?
You can, but I don't think we have to.
Well, I'm not saying we should, but I think Zeus is seriously considering it.
Yeah.
It's always the jungler's fault.
It is always the jungler's fault.
Oh, Viper, that's
-2.
-2. Thanks, Jonas Strong, making sure we don't miss that.
Yeah. Peanut is going to get to work here on the Grubs. And they have push in top lane. And there's no flash for Bulldog. So with Pyosik not on the map, looks like DNF don't really have an opportunity to fight over that. So it is just free. We'll see exactly where Pyosik goes, if he goes for an Infernal Drake or if he wants to repeat gank onto Zeus, who doesn't have his flash, but he is now level 6, and he's also backing.
Yeah,
so the timing isn't there.
Big issue here is the mid lane prio, because Zeka has such reliable presence and has been able to generate so much pressure in this lane. As I imagine Viper's like, hey, do you need help? And Eli's like, nah, I'm okay. It's fine. I'll just deal with it myself.
Yeah. And it is totally fine. And yeah, the push is coming in big time from Zeka.
It's so annoying to deal with already, right? And it's only going to get worse. But his ability to just delete these lanes mean that Bulldog is already behind, or always behind the play. And with Realm Warp, can do pretty similar thing to what Talia can do, but you clear the waves in about, I want to say like a quarter of the time. And a lot more time to exert pressure on the map. Sorry?
I'd say maybe half the time.
Half?
I think a quarter
This early on?
is...
Yeah, that's fair.
This early on, yeah. I mean, while he has a Ruby Crystal.
I do really think like Talia's early, when they changed her to not be good early anymore, it made me very sad.
Yeah.
Fun.
I do also dislike when my OP champions get nerfed. I mean, it's true. I used to be like a...
justified call out.
So I used to be a Orianna and Corki 2-trick.
I do remember.
Yeah.
You're telling me the story.
And they were both extremely overpowered. I think it was 2017. Yeah. It was fun times. Got a lot of wins. Did very well.
And then they got nerfed.
And then they both.
Yeah, right. Corki has never been meta since.
Yeah. Well, it's just going to be a free Infernal Drake here for Humble Life Esports. It doesn't look like DNF really had an opportunity.
What was your favorite, like, weird meta thing that got taken out because it was really broken, but you did kind of like it? For me, it's Rel Jungle. Actually, it was good.
No.
It's good that it was removed, but I did actually really like that.
Not Rel Jungle.
I thought it was cool, man. So can we save Zeus here?
I mean, everybody is going top. It's a 3-on-3 here. It's just a straight up fight, but the burst damage on the Zeus is enough, and the dash over the rocks for Peanut, as he will be taken out by Dudu's and Best. So we do have Zeka still on the chase. Bulldog just going to flash away from that one, but a couple of kills picked up here for DNF. Not half bad.
Peanut, about that card.
Yeah.
I love this timing though from DNF. Actually, really, because the flash on Zeus, what is it, like 10 seconds off? Actually perfect timing here, because if they have flash, they cannot play this. Cancel of the hop there by Pyosik, and then the rocks to just bop Peanut. Dudu then, just as the stun is about to end, goes in with the ultimate. And all of this works, again, because of the fact that flash isn't there. And they even get Zeka to roam up as well. Sure, he picks up a kill, but that could have been a lot worse. Really nicely done there by the DNF. The only downside, they do invest double flash, and that might be a problem as we get towards the second Grubs in about 50 seconds.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the timing of it could be an issue. I'm just happy that DNF actually looked like they're doing... Oh, no! Not the immediate caster curse.
Curses aren't real, Valdez.
Well, they are in this case. Peanut gonna steal away the blue. And yeah, I'm just happy that DNF proactively making plays.
Yeah,
making dives work. They're getting early leads. They're making ganks happen. They're not just doing nothing and then losing the game as we talk about literary themes.
Yes, it is. It is, and even in that game, this team in LCK Cup looked like they truly were just kind of lost. I do think that they have stepped it up. The main question is just, can they actually take away, not against Homewire today, I think that is definitely a bit too much of a step up, but that Bro series, that is going to be one that actually will end up having big repercussions. Could
actually be pretty epic.
It will, because don't forget, your performance in these first 2 round robins is going to have a lasting impact on your year. And DNF, even with those flashes not being available, very confident to just set up shop and denied the 6 grubs. 4 grubs for Hanwha Life, just like game number 1.
Yeah. This time, you know, they got the 3 early, and then Peanut just picked up 1 and hopped the wall. They didn't want to take the chance. They just said, no, we don't have everybody in position, and we're just not going to take the fight. At this point in the game, Rise has a catalyst, you know, not exactly hitting spikes or anything.
Double tier. No first item for a lot of their members, so
yeah,
I think it makes sense.
It just feels like a win for Hanwha because they got that early Infernal Drake. They got 4 grubs after all, so they didn't have to really fight to get 4 grubs either. Or the Infernal Drake, really. And a lot of that just came down to mid-prio. You know, a couple of good plays from DNF, but when it comes to the laning phase, we saw this in game 1 as well. Hanwha Life just very naturally were winning in all the lanes. And it kind of felt effortless. And now it feels like Hanwha Life, they started off a bit more behind, but they're still doing a lot of what they did in game 1 to get these kind of innate laning leads.
The big difference for me is that this time DN Freaks has a comp that makes me go, this can win. In the last game, I think the space really put it its worth much more viciously than we did, but it was very warranted.
Huh. Just dive in the top lane here. There's that Rim Prison into Spear combo as Peanut taking a huge amount of damage. He's just going to flash out. Oh, the timing on that was beautiful. Zeka able to just zip out of the same timeline as Pioshik.
Not even close as Zeka makes the great escape. Peanut has to invest his flash, but he's going to be happy about that as, oh, Zeus, that's a mini-Gnar.
Yeah.
Who has his ultimate. Berserker's here.
And he's going to get hit by the ult of the Ambessa. That is just so clean from Dudu. Berserker just helping out. And it's enough. They're getting a lot of plates. They're winning a side lane.
They actually execute a great cross map. Love to see it. The only thing that could have been better is if the kill went over to Berserker. Although I think Dudu obviously has had a great game in the on the Ambessa thus far, just because, you know, it's Berserker. It's kind of been an ongoing theme.
Yeah.
But DN Freaks, what a step up here. We're actually seeing them stay toe-to-toe. I think that their team fight comp definitely is pretty crazy. I want to see, did he know about the Sejuani?
He said, let's go.
Oh, yeah, 세종.
Oh, Seju ult. Sejuani
Because
ult.
they did have a ward, but it was on the other end, so I was kind of wondering.
Yeah.
As we take another look here. Got to hit that ultimate. He did. And then Berserker, feel like he didn't necessarily need it to flash there, but not wanting to waste the time. This is a little bit rough, though, is because they went for that play and invested a lot of resources. I imagine that they were then behind on getting a base in, which meant that the Dragon still went over to Hanwha Life.
Zeus is just being bullied in this game. If he dies
Mega,
here, that's going to be 0-4. He does hit No, he doesn't.
No Mega.
Nope, just not going to hit it. And now, Life Esports are like, oh, the hook. We got to jump ship. The hook is big. Peanut trying to dash over the rocks. There's no other way to get out for him, so he had to try. It's 2 kills for DNF. They're making plays.
They're alive! It's happening!
They're awake.
We're able to actually discern the themes. It's DNF is here. And they're making plays across the map. Zeus, as I already said, has had a habit of doing this in the past. Not generally on champions like Gnar, though. Actually, a great punish. He got the counter pick as well, by the way. This was what he picked in the Ambessa. And a lot of it has been just Pioshik having a much better game. But this, I don't know how Zeus did not know that any of them were there. I feel like it was a good amount of vision coverage. So it does feel, with, especially considering how many problems he's had already this game. Like, he's just not respecting enough, just keeps getting punished inside. Nicely done by DN Freaks, and also the fact that Peanut doesn't have flash is what allows him to actually get that kill. If they don't force the flash with the topside play, Peanut flashes there, ends up making it out. And DN Freaks, we're getting hyped. It's because they look a lot better. There is a problem, which is the blue man that is currently up almost 1.5k gold. That is really going to be a big deal. There's also the fact that the composition for Hanwha, I think, scales very nicely. The poke is great. Still going to celebrate. DN Freaks look a lot better.
Well, we're going to have maybe a battle of the Fed champions in the bottom lane. We'll see how much more fighting they do. But Zeka versus Dudu. The most fed in the game currently. Zeus is he's just orange buff. Like, he's just sitting there dying on repeat. They're just farming the Gnar buff, which is just getting your team fed in this case. he finally hits his Trinity Force, but now Dudu is just so incredibly fed, and I hope he returns to where he was, you know, the only carry on his team once upon a time. Nowadays, with this roster, we thought he wouldn't be, but, and also he's not showing that carry potential, but this is the game where you gotta carry.
He also had a chase game at the beginning of last week that actually was pretty solid. So if this is him reawakening, I'll take that 100%. Oh. Really, the biggest winner is... Oh, come on, Peanut. Be nice. The biggest winner of seeing Dudu kind of drop his form after a couple of years with, frankly, just him being the only performing member on his team is even more respect for Keen, who somehow just stayed really good after doing that. Now, the one thing I do want to highlight, Dudu can't die, right? He's the guy that is the most fed, that has a ton of resources invested in him, cannot give up that shutdown. But the response from Humble Life doesn't actually end up doing too much, and that means the mid lane turret is going to fall.
Oh, looks like Peanut actually is going to clear it up, and now the whole team is here with the Realm Warp as DNF, they did not factor that in. Pyosik just going to die as they just simply did not get out in time, as Bulldog also going to be pulled off of the wall. That's a couple of kills here for Humble Life as they do not respect the rotation power of the Rise.
Bulldog, you got to angle that a little differently. If he just pulls it much more horizontally, just goes toward like his topside turret, no way that they end up getting him there. Pyosik getting caught, and this for me is the biggest. Pyosik getting caught, it's rough, but it's not the end of the world. But the fact that then a second kill also goes through is a big deal, because Bulldog being dead, instead of being there to clear this wave, means that Humble Life have an extra member on the map, meaning that now they're going to get this turret, and the gold lead is just going to be kind of gone. And here the big thing is, as you highlight, the Realm Warp just catching them off guard, and they knew that they were roaming mid. We were very aware of this.
The three of them were bought with Rise. Where do you think they're going?
No, it's level 2 ult. You gotta angle that differently.
Yeah.
From Bulldog, big mistake. That's a unforced error. And now Humble Life is in the lead again.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure a lot of us were sitting back waiting for the moment when Hanwha would come back and take the lead. So I don't think that part is very surprising, but I do think that DNF, they had a lot going for them in this early game.
Which was nice.
Yeah. It was nice, but at the end of the day, now Halmar are just like, well, we're in the lead now. We're going to start pressing our buttons. And Viper is hitting a spike. I believe he has the finished Muramana. And Zeka also on 2 items. Yeah. So, now, if you look on the other side, you got 2 items for Mbessa. You have 2 items for the Tristana, but I'm worried about the Rise Ezreal 2-item combo spike here for them, especially in the poke department, and when you've got a Nidalee too.
The Freaks need to get this dragon. You can't give over the soul point. It's actually pretty good here on Hanwha. Zeus is fine this time around. It's going to hit Mega though, but look at the poke. This is what we talked about before. Freaks, they got to pull the trigger. They have so many ways to start a fight.
Yeah. The Chemtech Soul is actually pretty decent in this one.
Yeah.
The Nidalee and some big health bars here for Hanwha. And yeah, I mean, they're taking so much damage. Viper, he doesn't have Cleanse, and even Arcane shifted in, and he gets hit by a Sejuani ultimate, but he's still not punished. As in goes Delight into that backline. He looks like he will be taken out, but so many low health bars here. And the Realm Warp in for Zeka. He wants more. They want to turn onto him, but Dudu not quite able to do the damage, but there it is. He is actually able to take him over. The rocks is Bulldog, and he will be able to take down Zeka and get a big bounty. So at least DNF were able to get that, and the dragon is still alive, actually.
Oh, Bulldog can TP in. I think they might be able to contest this. Dudu doesn't have his, though. And that was very close to Hanwha Life taking a big win and kind of giving it away again. Because the reason why Viper and Zeus can act like psychopaths in this fight is because they're already so low, right? And Freaks have so many tools. You have Mbessa ult, you have Sejuani, you have the Nautilus, but instead, and this isn't even a great engage from Hanwha Life, right? Like the light goes in on one target, it's just Berserker. Zeus flashes forward just to auto people, by the way. And then Hanwha Life way over chase here as well. Could have played this a lot slower. I hope that the Freaks get something for the troubles, because the dragon went over to Hanwha Life, and if they just get Soul Point and you don't get the Otacon, things are about to be dire. But Zeus does have TP, stacking the Narber, but only halfway there.
Yeah, it's getting pretty low. There's the TP. He might just come down to a smite fight. The burst from the poke is what they're going to go for. Viper has to Arcane Shift away, and now Peanut, awkward spot for him. Zeka as well, TPing to his doom potentially. As Zeus tries to help him, but Berserker just hops away. As a big combo ult does come in, but the wall pushes them back into DNF. And DNF are rolling over them here in the top lane. Zeus all alone there. That's a triple now for Berserker. As how about life? They do not respect them on the Otacon. They want to take them down, but the turn from DNF is huge.
And they get the kills. They get the Otacon. They get a good amount of roses as well. And Hanwha Life. What was that? Zeka teleporting into a bunch of people? As we take a look, they're just trying to cut too many corners here, right? As Zeka, no, he just walks up. As walks up, gets engaged on, and it really does feel again disjointed because Viper is getting zoned, and that's so much of the damage not available here. And then look at this flick that comes through here from Bog. Both the walls sets up for the flick back. Berserker is safe in this fight. Didn't even need to flash, by the way. And DN Freaks, actually a great team fight from them. Oh man, the double knock-up.
Yeah.
Because if Vipers ends up staying alive, I don't think they can do that much more, but instead, get the Otacon. Still, value obviously is not going to be as crazy because of the fact that they haven't gotten a lot of epic objectives yet, but maybe in due time. But the gold remains in favor of the DN Freaks. And look at that swing!
Yeah, and look at this. Peanut gonna get just comboed with all the CC they have, the Nautilus, the Talia, they come together. And Peanut not able to do enough on this Nidalee, just gets taken out. It's a 4,000 gold lead here for DNF, and they have so many blood petals as well. They've taken the lead pretty hugely in this game. Take a look at the top level difference right now. 3 levels. Zeus only level 12 to Zeka's 15 to Dudu's 15. He has just been totally absent in this game. And this is just pretty elementary.
Life also been really solid with these hooks. A lot of the plays, particularly onto Peanut. With him setting it up. And he has not had the best season so far. So nice signs of life there from him. Signs of life by life.
Nice.
Nice.
Love life.
Signs of life by life sounds like it could be a perfume, you know?
Yeah.
Can you see it like someone walks up from the ocean?
Sounds of life.
Yeah.
By life.
There you go. Oh, I got chills!
Well. We need
No,
Zeus
we can't just let that go, Valdez. That's powerful imagery right there.
Yeah.
Now, the next dragon is most likely going to be given up by Hanwha Life. And there is still, I think, for all of us, still a pervasive sense of, all right, this is fine, but Zeka's going to hit level 16. Viper is, at some point, going to hit his third item, but that is actually a really big deal, is that with all the gold that's been given over, it's not like the composition of DN Freaks doesn't scale. Really, just more of a nameplate situation than anything, and I truly do hope that DN Freaks win this game, because if they lose this one, I do fear for their mental. But as someone that has predicted both for Hanwha Life against T1 and against DN Freaks, this match is not feeling so great for me, Valdez.
Yeah, I mean...
Are you with me?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I'm with you.
We are in shambles.
I mean, that's the way it goes sometimes, especially in the early stages of the predictions, you know, the early weeks when you don't have a good grasp of where the teams are at, what their power level is, you know, is Hanwha Life awake yet? Or are they still the slumbering serpents,
Well, they went to an international, you know, they have to deal with jet lag.
Yeah. Yeah, they traveled to a different universe when they had to play up against those teams, I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah, this dragon is going to be just given over, as you highlighted. Hanwha Life not going to flip the game on taking a Chemtech Soul right now. Zeus, still no second item. Not really a champion in this one, and the difference right now in the AD carry department is a big one.
Truly the worst game I've seen him have in a really, like, even a lot of the, you know, I know the TF top era, he was very heavily criticized as well. But I feel like a lot of those games to me felt less egregious than this one.
There's a TP. Viper gonna get caught in the ruler spot on Ezreal. Missed his arcane shift as well. Lifer just falling apart. DNF gonna probably take a Baron from here. There's no Ezreal on the Rift at all. As Viper's like, well, I'm caught, I can't flash. There's really no reason to flash. And that's correct, but the fact that he got caught is the bigger issue. As we got a TP coming in, it looks like Life want to try to fight this one, but they're down a member, and they're down so much gold at this point. The flash away, and in goes DNF. Delight gonna be caught here, and so will Zeus. He does hop the wall. So they get the pick, and their sights are set on Baron once again.
And Peanut's alive, but I don't think he's gonna be in a position to contest. Summoner's burned. And slowly, but surely, the confidence that we have for DNF actually closing out this game keeps growing. But just don't let Peanut get a hit, but he should be allowed to, and he's not.
Yeah, no, I mean, you got a Tristana, you got an Ambessa. This guy is dying. Now, they do let the Baron leash, which probably a mistake, but probably more so because Pyosik was so low.
The second gonna TP in, I kind of wonder how they didn't expect the double back. Oh, you kidding me? He's so sneaky.
Yeah.
Don't let it distract from how bad of a game he's been having. As we take another look here, really, I kind of want to see what happened to Viper. I know he was in the ruler spot, but on Ezreal, that was a rough go.
I think he just got Nautilus.
Yeah.
And he was like, uh-oh.
There's been a lot of that. And also, I love how much, because DNF in the earlier Dragon fight, we actually criticized them for not doing what, like they're actually going for great layered hard engage. First, we have Life go in, then we have backline access for Dudu, we have Pyosik going in as well as, oh boy, I don't know about this one.
I mean,
Peanut and Zeka aren't close. I think they're going to just burst it down. It's going to be gone.
Yeah, 5K ahead. They're just going to go for it. The Meganar is there for Zeus, but he can't get in. The Smite is early. Goes down to 30 and to Tristana, but it doesn't matter. It's a couple of kills going the way of DNF as well on top of the Baron. And now, you can just look to push to end from here. I mean, there is a Dragon in 2 minutes, but you can get an even larger lead from this one. I think DNF, you know, they've had a really big struggle so far in this season, but this is a game that I don't think anyone can drop from. It seems like it's in the bag for them. Life Esports are not really putting 2 and 2 together, and now they're too far behind.
And even the possible win con of the Camtac just feels like it's more of a pipe dream than anything. Way too far behind in items, not going to be able to really contest for the map at all. Zeka is not hitting cannons. As we take another look here, there really isn't that much. It's a 7-level lead, Valdez.
Yeah.
7 levels.
8 now.
8 there, yeah. As Zeus, what's another death when you're already this far behind?
Might as well.
Yeah. All right, DNF, we collectively need you to win this game. That's
I think
all
we
we're
all
asking
need this.
for.
Yeah.
We all need this. Life need to get punished.
Yeah.
Because
they need a
they do not deserve this game.
Yeah.
At all.
They lost to Gen G. They dropped the game to KT. We were thinking, oh, yeah, it looked good. You know, that was the turnaround in the mid-game. They won that one fight, and we're like, okay.
Yeah, losing to Gen G, that's fine. Gen G are really, really, really good. And I think DNF are playing great, don't get me wrong. This is clearly a continuation of their upwards trends. Peanut doesn't have flash.
Well, at least he did Zonya's all of the CC. But at the same time, they still have the Baron push coming in. Now the wall and the Ambessa right on top of Viper, as Dudu is an assassin right now on this Ambessa. He's looking for more. He's going to pick up Peanut, as finally he's able to let go and just dive into that back line and pick up 2, and he lets his team push in here up against 3. There's not much of a wave, but with Tristana, your pushing power is gigantic. As now even a flash on in on top of Zeus. What's another death? Why not? There's the 8th as DNF will take down the turret, and they will take down game number 2 away from Life Esports. Delight and Zeka desperate to bound a bunch of magic on top of them with this rise, but it's not going to be enough. Down goes the Nexus, and we will have a game number 3.
A great performance from everyone on the Freaks. Dudu with the backline fret, Pioshik with the early impact. Bulldog with a great redemption after a bit of an early oopsie. Live with the hooks and Berserker no notes has been great. Feel like we've given him a lot of love as yeah! It's just one game of it, who cares? That's a big one! This guy knows. And Hanwha Life. Whew. Bit rough. Is that the game where as Peanut you want to get your 5,000th assist? I don't know, Valdez.
Yeah.
Did hit it there.
Unfortunate timing, but 5,000 is 5,000, right?
We'll take it.
LCK third. That's still incredibly impressive. Congratulations to Peanut as he gets it in this game.
Bittersweet.
But at least it's 5K, and we'll see just how high that number is going to go. Congratulations to Peanut once again. And now...
Really, as I mentioned, great from everyone on DN Freaks. On the flip side, Zeus is the obvious one to point fingers at, but even everyone else, like Zeka walking up and dying, Viper failing arcane shifts. Our life just look all out of sorts.
Yeah, still not awake, still slumbering, and DNF able to take advantage of that with their first game win so far of the LCK. As we'll see what happens in game 3 as we'll come back after the break.
우리끼리 내가 나가 아니야 우리끼리 바텀라인 내가 뺀다 내가 넣어줄 테니까 달려 세영아 이변 쳐 내 프리터 세영아 나르는 노플이야 나르는 여기 샬라이브 나갈게 이거 나르는 노플이라 뭐 없어 이거 나와 하나씩 해 나와 하나씩 해 세영아 여기 무빙 한번 해줘 나올게 노플 노플 노플이야 잡았어 예전 봐 내가 카운트 봐 나 카운트 끝내자 야 프리 있는데 무시해서 나오던 거 이거는 나 라이드 냈어 다 말아 그냥 나는 살려줘 야왜 이렇게 세냐 그러게 나 강심 한 번만
For this draft, we're getting ready to talk about Hanwha Life Esports on blue side for the first time in this best of 3 because they lost game 2, all according to plan.
Yes. Whose plan?
DNFs. Yone first ban on red side.
That tracks. Ash taken away. Kalista, Varus, I imagine, sure to follow. Yeah, sometimes it's hard to really know whose plan it is, what is happening, what are we watching, where's Pioshik? He's right there.
At least we know that.
We do know that.
We know where Pioshik is. And what are these bans going to look like? Obviously, game 3 of a fearless drafting situation. We've had 4 so far, actually. Whereas we've had... looks like 6 series go into just 2-0s. So we've had a decent amount of experience getting into game 3s. A Silas ban, so a lot of focus here onto Zeka, which I think in the past would be an excellent strategy. In current times, I think Zeka's champion pool has gotten pretty wide. I think he's proven himself on a lot of different picks. He's not just like a Silas Akali 2-trick anymore, obviously. But still value against Zeka, who is a fantastic Silas player. Still going to be a Kalista ban third.
Yeah, it just doesn't hit the same anymore. I'm with you on that one. Might also be a hint towards what champions they want to pick up. If they want to say prioritize an early Alistar, for example, do you think you're going to be happy with that? Because Alistar, Leona are the two that are still open. And after that, we are kind of out of traditional engage supports. You know, that's when we get towards the more esoteric stuff, the weirder stuff. Vi is open. So Peanut, you got to have fun in last game. You got to play Nidalee.
Didn't look like he was having much fun.
He was not, no. But he's gonna have fun on Vi. Gets the press R on people. A lot of Zeka's champions, I think, should still line up nicely with this.
Yeah. Including Garen.
Yes,
No.
naturally.
Rumble, one of the top-tier top laners, still available. And dude who's been blind picking all day. Obviously, they've been drafting around it a bit, outside of the Gwen first pick in Game 1. But yeah, Rumble going to be the selection here. So we'll be curious to see what Zeus has for the answer. Also, what is going to be the response here in the jungle for Pioshik to go along with this Rumble?
Skarner is a response we often see, but has, of course, been banned away by Humble Life, which in hindsight was also kind of a clear sign that the Vi was to come. I don't love the Leona lock-in. I'm not, or the Misfortune lock-in, because Leona's still up, and they can slam Leona here, and your game becomes very hard to play. They can also leave open Leona and pick Brom, and they already have Vi. So they're gonna go Vi Aurora, and you're a stationary AD carry that has no range.
Yeah. The only thing about MF is, I mean, a lot of teams seemingly just pick it for the laning phase. Now they're gonna pick Alistar into MF, which is not necessarily one of the choices you were talking about, Braum or Leona, and also loses lane to MF. So not really the same line of thinking here with this Alistar.
What it does mean is that it forces DN Freaks to pick a support, because if they don't, it's definitely going to get banned. There's a lot that's going to be banned away, right? And there's not that much available. I would love something with CC and setup. It's going to be the Orianna here, which... So we're going to see a Nocturne ban from Hanwha, most likely. And the Fury has already been taken off the board. And then for Humble Life, what, like ban Nocturne and maybe ban the Leona? There would be the big other pick that is still open. That is a top tier. Are we gonna... You know what actually would go really hard here? Because there's not a lot of AD carries left for Viper, right?
Yeah.
Would be Jarvan.
That champion doesn't exist.
For DN Freaks, I'm not joking. You have...
sorry, Chronicler.
No, that is a real champion. I'm fairly certain. Because you have MF.
That is a really good shout, actually.
Yeah.
Because imagine playing anything that's really stationary.
Well, there's not a lot that
Jarvan.
Viper can do, right? There was an option ban, a complete no-brainer. Because
unless he's gonna play like Neela.
Well, I'm looking. Like, the problem is you also need to pair with Alistar. So like Lucian is off the table. If it was Lucianami, that could have been a decent shout.
They could play Zeri. You know, that's got a decent amount of mobility.
Also, because they already have the elements for dive. But I think trying to play Zeri in the laning phase is going to be a complete disaster. Whatever is going to be paired with the MF. Oh my God! What if it's life? What if it's life, Jarvan?
Life,
We
Jarvan.
didn't even think about that.
I mean, it's
He's
a flex,
the guy.
right? You pick it on 4, and you're like, is it jungle? Is it support?
Yeah, support Jarvan.
Impossible to know.
I don't think should still exist or be real. Some might wonder, was it ever real? It was.
Yeah. Even Spirit played it as a jungler swap support for some games. Yeah. We're going to have a redo of the draft, guys. Not sure which pick was the one that was the issue.
The final ban was Galio, right?
Yeah. I mean, the Galio ban is kind of weird. Although...
It would be like support. No.
Actually, the Galio ban is pretty good.
It's top lane.
Yeah, the Galio ban is good, actually. The Galio ban makes a lot of sense. So...
Yeah, we don't know.
Before that was Nocturne, which makes a lot of sense. Before that was Jhin, which also kind of makes sense. But we already had a couple more bans after that, so I don't know.
I mean, Jhin is a great neutralizer in lane, and he also is great with dive, right? Because he can just set up shop, in the back of a fight.
Really, the only issue is that he's very immobile, and if you go something like Jarvan, if you got like Orianna, MF, Rumble, Jarvan into Jhin, you're feeling pretty good.
Jhin does not get to play the video game, unfortunately.
So that would really be the only ban where it's a little bit questionable, but even then, we came up with good reasons for why you would want to also ban Jhin.
Love this. The sassy orange with tiny mustache.
It's like an evil orange. It's like a...
With a unicorn. I don't really know what the...
Does he have a crown? Or is that just the top of the orange?
I think it's the top of the orange, yeah. Maybe it's both.
But it was like a maniacal king orange, you know? Maybe.
I could see it.
Well, guys, we're going to redo the draft. We're going to see what the issue was. Don't actually currently know which pick was the one that was the problem. But going to run through this one. So we are learning that we are just rerunning back the same exact draft with the same exact bans. It was just an error that did lead to having to redo
that
the
makes
draft.
sense.
So
yeah,
I mean, we found good reasons for all the bans. It all kind of made sense. There wasn't really anything that stuck out like a sore thumb.
like the 6 last time.
Yeah,
That was a, again, great narrative device used by...
yes, absolutely.
Yes.
I love narrative devices.
I don't even know if that's a frame. A lot of this is hard because obviously I learned most of it in Dutch, so I don't really
Yeah.
know if it works directly translated.
What is it in Dutch?
Well, I'm not gonna.
Why not? I'm just curious.
No, I'm not. I'm not going to because I know what the response is going to
It's
be.
probably just narrative frame in a weird accent, right?
Yes, everyone is just going to make fun of my weird language, and
No,
I'm
it's
not
a
feeling
great
like that
language. I
today.
love Dutch.
As a Nocturne ban, so the Galio is going to come through, and then the final one here. As mentioned, I feel like Jarvan's kind of a smash hit. I don't think they're going to be thinking towards that, though.
Yeah.
We'll see if they want to ban, like, what, Leona or Brom?
Yes, maybe something that's going to give them issue in the bottom lane. But, you know, we've seen, like, Orianna picks with other junglers, right? Like, I think they played Orianna and Nefiri that one time. I forget who it was. But you just drop the ball, and then Nefiri and she ults in, and then, you do the same thing.
I want to say it was DRX. Not sure.
Maybe. Wukong, another decent shout.
That's
I really like the Jarvan angle, honestly.
yeah. I think Wukong's way better though. Now that I'm thinking
As a
about it.
champion as well in the
Yes.
current meta.
That's the main thing.
Does fit a lot better.
So, I think Jarvan is actually on the live actually in a good spot. He's actually fairly strong. And for a jungler like Pioshik, having there is this area. Being able to have an early impact, I think, is actually a big deal. As it's top lane Aurora for Zaze. We had like 5 extra minutes and we didn't consider this at all. Oh my god.
It's a flexible pick.
Oh, into Vi Akali? Do it! They don't have a laning phase! It's Zeri Alistair!
I mean, might as well.
Sped up Wukong?
Yeah.
Lock it in!
Gotta go fast. Tarek.
Yes, also love this. Life is a big... don't get me... I like...
Just Tarek always falls so flat on his face every time.
I'm with you. I liked the Zilean a lot more. But when you think about it, they are playing what is effectively a full melee composition. They have to dive. You're playing Tarek. I just hope that Life doesn't try to do the ult in an attempt to block that. You gotta go aggressive with this.
Yeah.
You have Wukong. The setup for your stuns is amazing. I think that again, because of how short range they are, the amount of procs you're gonna get off, the amount of extra Qs is gonna be kind of insane. I actually think Tarek makes a lot of sense here. The main issue is, as you point out, we've seen this attempted a lot.
Yeah.
Just hasn't really worked out. There is also a good amount of magic damage on the enemy team. Tarek does obviously really excel when he gets to stack a ton of armor and not be bothered by silly things, such as AP damage.
Yeah. This does feel like a Pretty good angle, though, for the Tarek. So
I like it. It's a good R5.
Yeah. It's a good idea. And it was a very interesting sign there. I'll skip over that one. Pretty interesting comp as well from the side of Homolife Esports. Very melee, as you mentioned, very close range. There's only one range champion, which is, of course, I guess there's two, with Aurora and Zeri, but also very low range. As we have some wombo combo here on the side of DNF, we'll see if we can get them across the line in game number 3.
미니언 생성까지 30초 남았습니다.
All right, here we go. Game 3. Homolife Esports up against DNF. And will Homolife's early season sleepiness come back to bite them?
You think Deegan would say that that Tarek skin is pink, not purple?
Let me see. He would say it's purple and not pink,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Or did you mean the opposite?
Oh, no,
Well, it's both, right? I mean, he's got pink and he's got purple.
Yeah. The leg warmers are pink, though.
Yeah, they're definitely pink. So
Which
you're
is-
saying he
this
would
is the
call them
exact-
purple?
I'm saying he would call them purple. Yeah.
Yeah, he would. I mean, they look a very similar shade of pink.
That's my point.
To his sneakers. So.
Yes. If you hold them side by side, will there be a difference? I don't think so. We
Probably
can't,
not.
We can't possibly know, but I'm feeling pretty certain that that is going to be very close to one another.
Yeah. So, you know, Deegan always shows up to work in various different types of clothing, and he always has a point, I feel like, but it always goes over my head every single time.
He's always trying to tell a story.
And maybe
It's the same color!
Maybe he was just trying to be Tarek. Right?
It's the same color!
They actually are the same color, though.
Yeah, I'm not memeing.
No, it's not a meme. It's real.
Deegan, we like the shoes.
Yeah.
They're cool shoes.
But that's what I'm saying. Maybe it went over our heads, and now it's revealed. He had this plan with Life.
Oh,
If it goes to
he
game
knew.
3, Life would play this skin
Yes.
and show off why
It
Deegan
was
showed up
another
to work.
narrative device. It was
Exactly.
trying to foreshadow. Oh my god.
I get it now, Deegan. Thank you so much for this experience.
Thank you for getting it, Velvez. I can't believe we missed that.
It's very difficult. You had to put a lot of pieces together. It had to go to game 3 to have the Tarek selected, to have the same colored shoes. Otherwise, it wouldn't have happened. Do it, Zeka.
The only way
What
for
could go
Deegan
wrong?
to prove it's not the same is to do a space segment later where you put Tarek on the TV and then you hold your shoes next to it.
And he'll just be like, they're both purple.
Yeah,
But they're the same.
certainly.
Yeah.
But they're the same. Yeah. Pre-6, I don't think either of these two teams really want it. We haven't talked about the game yet, but pre-6, I don't think either team wants to do anything, realistically. Yeah. It's all champions. Every single one. Well, I guess Vi can do some stuff, but...
Alistair does combos and stuff before
You could
level
have
6,
you
you
could
know?
have well, you could have a 2v2, but in this matchup, I don't think so. Also, did Berserker just miss the cannon? Pretty sure he did.
I think my brain erased that part. I don't remember.
Still preoccupied with the whole plot twist
I'm just
of the
still
day.
thinking about how deep it really is. The commentary from Deegan. It's just excellent stuff.
He's a bit of a fashionista, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
He's a fellow fashion fan.
Yeah, definitely you two guys are. I generally wear sweatpants
Yeah.
underneath the desk because I prioritize comfort over fashion.
Well, you are a dad as well, so I feel like now you have a build-in next
Yeah, I have been doing it for like so many years,
Brandon,
though.
I'm trying to give you an out.
But it's true. Now I do have a good excuse. Although there's no excuse for just dressing comfortably. It's just a choice. It's a good choice.
yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
I would never, but
Yeah.
it's fine.
Also, I just drive to work, so nobody sees it anyway outside. So
I mean, you don't have to.
what's the point?
You
You
don't
know?
have to justify it to me. Elvis.
I'm just trying to explain, you know, where I'm coming
reasoning.
from.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's okay.
I just hope this game looks a little bit more interesting than game 1.
I'll settle for game 2. Yeah, game 2 was great.
Yeah. Not the cannon. You got it.
Thank God. Also, we've already talked about the games individually. But this is also going to give us sense of what the whole trilogy means. Because we still don't know that.
The trilogy
of this series.
Yeah.
Right? Because we have game 1, which was very slow, a lot of build-up. Expectedly, Hanwha Life won.
So you're saying it could be a totally new story told here in the third book?
It has to be a continuation of game 1 and 2. I just don't know. Like, retroactively, you can make those games mean very different things, right? Depending on what happens here. Because if Hanwha Life end up stomping them here, you go, well, I guess that was the lesson the whole time. But if DN Freaks actually get the upset, I'm telling you, no one is going to have predicted them. I don't even know if DN Freaks fans would have. I think realistically, probably should.
Yeah. I mean, you could hope for the win, of course. Anything
That's your job
is possible.
as a fan. Yeah, you have to believe.
When it comes to predictions, we take it very seriously. Maybe not all as serious as Chronicler.
Obviously.
Yeah. He had a little bit of a drive-by in mid. Peanut just walking by, and so is Pioshik.
A hint of action.
Yeah. Just, you know, it's like you smelled something in the air as you were walking by. Okay, we got an actual play in the top lane. Peanut gonna get here first, and Berserker is gonna have to flash away. And that's about all we're gonna get. But Pioshik, he's just gonna take one and leave. As now Equalizer comes down here. No action there, no action here, no action top. And yeah, Peanut's just gonna take the 2 grubs that are left over.
Kind of payoff for that setup is
okay. A flash.
That's it. I was waiting. I don't know. I thought I was waiting for more.
No, I mean,
there was
no more. There was no more.
That's never stopped us before.
I just wish there was more. It's okay.
Maybe action here. Pioshik. Ults are available now, so these team comps do in fact do things. As Peanut's like, no, doing. I do really want to give credit to DN Freaks, because after last game it was very clear that Dandy went in and said, guys, what were you doing? And don't do it again, and just chill and actually play clean. And now every time where I'm like, in last game, Peanut would have just queued into Pioshik. And like, well, guys, let's see what happens.
Yeah.
None of that this time around. Sayers also has not died yet. I think at this point he was 0-2 in the last game. Went for Swifties even, which does actually make sense. It's the Rumble. Try and space nicely. Don't slow this much on the harpoons.
It's like when we used to get Swifties on Rumble all the time instead of Sorkpan boots.
Yeah.
Against various matchups where movement speed was going to help. Generally helps Rumble.
Even Huni at some point was approving, which was interesting.
Yeah. It's an interesting angle. After staking his claim that it was the wrong choice for so long, he was like, you know what, it's okay.
Oh, Huni.
Hope he's doing well. Huni just fulfilling his mandatory military service at the moment, for those who are curious. We do have the dragon started up here by Pioshik. Will Hanwha Life come up with an equal response elsewhere on the map? Or will it be here on the dragon as they are closing in? There is a lot of vision denial, but they're on top of the Scuttle Crab. So they know this is happening, obviously. In goes Delight. He's got a 3-man knock-up opportunity, but he's going to let the Taric ultimate decide. He's just going to wait in his ult before he goes for it. And now the Taric ult is down. Viper gets a massive ult on everybody, and DNF are just caught against the wall. And the rest of Hanwha Life Esports, as that'll be 4 kills in the hands of Hanwha Life. Only one of them did go to the Zeri, but it still feels like a little bit of a Zeri moment in this little fight.
Yeah, it's fine. It's just Zeka and Akali with 3 kills. As that was beautifully played. When we get into the replay, I really want to highlight, this is one of the biggest reasons why I think the more Taric I see in pro play, you cannot use his ult defensively. You have to be the one that goes in. Because, again, they have the tools. They have that Wukong available, right? You need to be the one that set the pace. Because this from Hanwha Life, it's textbook. And now, in a game that felt like it was very close. It's a 2.2k gold deficit. The Dragon went to Humble Life. We got Zeka currently sitting on a first item when everyone else is just scrambling to get her components. And
Yeah.
Things are really, really dire. So with just this, there isn't actually a need to ult here. But what happens instead is immediately Humble Life wait it out, right? They wait out the ultimate. It's Delight in his ult, so he doesn't take damage. And then the moment that the ult's gone, we have Zeri jumping in with ult, Peanut canceling the ult from Berserker, and Zeka jumping in as well.
Yeah. You see Peanut starts off the fight.
이거 좋아 보여. 미퍼
Looks good, he says.
미퍼 잡았어.
Go for
이겼다.
Misfortune. I got Misfortune.
50 잡았고. 용 신경 쓰지 말고. 나이스.
Don't worry about Dragon.
알리스타 임마. 그냥 음매 그냥. 나이스. 카링 도구.
Well, he was talking about Alistair. I don't know exactly what he said. Oh, Zeka, no! Oh, he does get the kill, but he gives a massive shutdown over to Bulldog.
Not worth. That's not a goal positive play. Is Viper? Little wave clear ult there. I don't know what he was saying, but I assume was something like, they can't kill me. I am Alistair.
Something like that. It definitely had that energy. He was aura farming a bit.
Yeah, sometimes you got Zeka. R1's in, gets the E, and then gets CC just a little bit too. I think it was red buff actually that ended up getting him the kill there. Otherwise would have been a bit tragic. And still, Bulldog is going to be happy, because now he's only 900 gold behind.
Yeah.
It was a lot more.
It's better than whatever amount he was behind before. So
That's exactly the type of optimism I like.
Yeah.
It's better than it was. Is it good?
he's scaling, you know. He got his Rod of Ages. He can have a Seraph's Embrace.
Yep.
Can you kill this Orianna? You can't kill that Orianna.
Well, I'm pretty sure Zeka can, actually. Because I think this matchup is really hard for the Orianna as soon as you move to side anyway. Because Akali just has kill threat. And that's if nothing happens. You know, I think by the time you get the second item, life gets tough.
I mean, Flash is available here for Dudu. It's just not going to matter with all the CC they have, as one more auto will do it. Peanut does have to take the kill. So Viper denied another one, actually, sitting on 1-0 and 4 as Azeri. Not ideal, actually still behind on gold on the Misfortune, but regardless, a kill's a kill. They're going to get some plates here for Viper, so he can catch up a bit, as Life is alone underneath the turret and isn't doing all too much.
And I'm starting to get increasingly worried, Veldas, that game number 1 was a better indication, and then game number 2, Humble Life took a lot of liberties that they weren't allowed to. And then in this game, they're not going to do any of that. And they're going to play a very clean game of League of Legends, and we're not going to have any fun, and we're not going to have the cool upset. And that's just sometimes what you get.
I mean, it's still fun.
Well,
I just think that Humble Life should have won game 2, you know? It just feels like if you were able to do this in game 3, probably should have just not given a random game over to DNF.
The lessons they learned in game 2 is what allowed
True?
them to... No, it's not true.
That's no, it is. It's like the story, you know? It's the narrative device. Dudu, well, he's just going to dodge some damage. That's an equalizer. That's also just going to hit the wave. Not sure if he meant that to touch the...
I don't think so. There's no chance you actually kill Zeus there. Just get the wave and dip. Both of them really want to back because I imagine they're both very close to their Leandri spike. Big difference is that Zeus has TP, which is why I love this play from Pioshik. Try and punish. Oh, the wall!
Yeah, they had a ward in that brush as well. The flash on him. Pioshik might just be able to do this all by himself. Dudu trying to help out, just trying to bait him in, and it's perfect from Pioshik. Takes the kill on Aurora.
What a great read there from Pioshik. Even without the wall, Zeus just is always going to end up going down there. Oh no. Well, oh no.
Oh, hello.
Doesn't have flash, by the way.
Yeah, he doesn't have flash, he doesn't have clone, and it's Vi and Alistair. The jungle and support duo coming together once again. Not quite able to hand that kill over to Zeri, although Viper really wanted it. And they're able to punish Pyoshik after his great read.
Not allowed to have any fun. As Peanut and the like have been running the map both with almost perfect kill participation thus far. Obviously offset by the fact that Zeka wanted to go for the stylish solo bolo, which he did get, but you know, with a heavy price. Oh no, Dudu, don't do it. Dudu, no.
Yeah, he doesn't have flash here, as he is going to be knocked into the wall. And there's the stun. We got an ulting Zeri running after him. It's a very fast Rumble, though, and he is going to be able to just run that one off.
The light missing the cube actually ended up being pretty big there. Otherwise, I think Dudu does die. Or at the very least, like, Life has to do some crazy stuff, like flashing in to try and save him. But that was a lot of damage lost, as things are not going to be great for Bulldog inside. This does get the fresh TP in, but Zeka's going to go back. Maybe even finish his second item, though he's sitting on a lot of components. I think it is a little bit too early, but even just the short fan boots is quite tough. There is, yeah, big rod ready here for Zeka, and DN Freaks, I think, feel like they have to fight for this Herald. They are setting up shop first, which I do like. I just hope that they actually proactively engage. You have the tools, you have a great offensive combo. Don't just let Humble Life set the pace of the fight, because then they're going to do the same thing. Bait out your ultimate, and then back off, only to re-engage.
Yeah, no flash for Pyoshik, but as we can see here, it doesn't look like Humble Life want to fight over this. They just have Zeka down body at TP, but it's getting a nice push off, and they just say, we don't need this.
Little catch on the Rumble.
Yeah, that's a lot of damage already coming in. Ult utilized.
He has to leave.
Zeka's like, I dare you to step up to this wave. And Rumble's like, I can easily do that with my ult.
Yeah, it's actually very funny. We have not seen an actual Rumble ult. They've all been wave clear ults.
That's the way it goes sometimes. At least he's not dying all that often, because his ults are used for controlling the wave and getting out into safety. He's going to be able to get back on time to catch the next wave, so he's totally fine.
Gold lead has kind of stagnated, or rather, the gold lead hasn't, but the gold lead gap widening has stagnated. That's nice.
Yeah.
That's something, fellas.
That is something. It doesn't feel that much like game number one, but it's in a similar vein, you know? We have a bit more action in this game, but it's similar where Humble Life Esports are getting the better of most of them, and they're kind of just slowly chipping away at this one while not going too fast, you know?
It's fine. The DN Freaks won the last game. I think that's all that really mattered, because if they would have lost that one, it would have just been a complete disaster. They won. It's fine. We shouldn't get greedy. We shouldn't ask for too much.
I mean,
I do truly believe, though, that Humble Life are just having these type of games because they have to. As in, I think that they are very clear, and we've seen this with a lot of teams, right? I think T1 is obviously the most notorious example of early spring. Yeah. In T1's case, they also are seemingly able to sack summer without too many issues, which they did 2 years in a row.
Just qualify.
Yeah, just qualify somehow and then win, which, again, 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
Shadow Flame is now done, which is a big spike.
Yeah.
I imagine Humble Life is going to go for this dragon. DN Freaks are going to try and fight. Then the event will transpire, and then we will know what is going to happen in this game. Because either... Oh
boy. Well, Berserker in a lot of trouble here, even without the Alistair. But with the Alistair, it's very easy, simple. Under the turret as Delight. Doesn't even have to ult. Just makes the play happen. It's not even the ruler response. It's just hanging out, farming mid. Thought he was safe, but he absolutely was not.
That's both sums gone. That's actually the biggest deal of that, because he will be back on the map by the time the dragon spawns. They also use the flash for Delight, but that doesn't really matter that much, because Berserker trying to play into a 5-1 Akali when you don't have sums as a MF.
It's a problem.
It's a problem.
So we actually saw him there for a little bit, I think, but wasn't able to react on time. to flash away from the combo. But either way, nice little collapse from the side of Homolife Esports. And yeah, they're going to make Berserker pretty much useless for this next fight. So might just be Chemtech sole points for Homolife Esports. Ox isn't here today. He's probably distracted. Maybe he's hiking or something. So not able to spare us from double back-to-back Chemtech souls.
Maybe he's birding. Birding, like watching birds.
I thought you meant birding.
Oh no, he has a. I don't even know what that means. He has,
What are you talking?
he has a great set of binoculars.
Bert from
and I
Bert
know
Nerdy.
for a fact
Yes.
that there's a good amount of birds around my building because I told you about my new neighbor,
Yes.
Carrie the pigeon,
Yes,
who now
very.
lives on my balcony. It's no longer my balcony. As Dragon's gonna get started, and they do tag Zeka here. Good amount of damage coming through.
All right, well, let's see what this fight looks like. Might look very similarly to the next one. Flash on in. They're trying to be proactive, but the Taric ult a bit late. Finally is utilized as Homolife were waiting for that one. And now they're going to press all their buttons, and the Taric doesn't do anything. Down goes Poach.
Oh!
Massive shockwave, but it's just too little too late. As now that gold lead has not really stagnated. Still 5,000 in the head. They have the Chemtech Dragon as well. Will be the Otacon on top of it. And they're off to the races.
Yeah, this game is unfortunately, I think, a little over. I don't think that we're gonna get another one, and that's just the end of it. That is Soul Point gone. That's now a 5K gold lead.
Delight.
Just Dubstack igniting onto people.
Delight's having a great time today. You can tell. Berserker's just off here in the jungle, just kind of hanging out, you know.
He's
Doesn't have a
hanging out.
splash.
He's giggling as well.
He's having a good time. He knows that, you know, there's not much that he can do in that situation, so. 0-3 now at this point. As we see, again, they just wait for the Taric ult, and then after that, they just win the fight.
I'm just kind of shocked they don't actually kill Peanut here. Like just because I like that call, but they don't have any damage follow-up. Bulldog isn't there, you have to combo!
Oh,
Yeah, this doesn't matter.
well, Degon has hit the ground here in this game. It's Degon here, the Taric.
Oh,
they're wearing the
thank
same
you.
shoes.
No, of
yeah.
course. Oh, I understand the
Same sneakers.
confusion. No,
Yeah.
If there's more damage follow-up and they actually kill Peanut there, like you can also hold on to the ult. Like that could have worked, maybe. Is Zeka gonna hit 25 stacks? I'm saying yes.
I'm gonna say yes.
So I need to start considering my my POM vote.
Hey, the game isn't over yet, Chronicler, okay? There's still a chance. You gotta wait for the Nexus to fall. The mid-tier 1 hasn't fallen.
No, I'm very confident. You know, we're in hairbet territory. That's what we are.
Oh no, not hair bets.
I do it. Like it doesn't.
Really? Would you?
Yeah, of course.
Oh,
Well, I'm trying to grow up my hair, right?
yeah.
In honor of Dune Awakening releasing soon. Okay, well, not a lot to say about that. He's 2 levels down. He doesn't have subs. Zeka just kind of cooks him. What happened here?
Degon went for a little walk in the jungle.
Found Akali.
Yeah.
I guess Akali found him.
This feels like the solo queue games where your mid lane gets solo killed like 4 times. It didn't happen in this game to Bulldog. Like, Bulldog was fine. Zeka got fed from the team fight. But then he just runs around the map killing everyone.
Yeah.
And you just know, like, there's nothing you can do. Because Akali is just murdering every single person on the Rift, and nobody can stop him.
Yeah, they don't really have point-and-click CC at all.
Bulldog has done more damage than Zeka in this game.
That makes sense. Because Zeka kills people so fast.
Yeah.
And like he doesn't really do that much damage outside. He just sees someone, kills them.
Yeah.
Whereas, you know, Bulldog, there's healing that can be done. There's sustain, there's pots. No, he's just continuously getting up rotations. Not Zeka. Sees target. Goes
They
in.
die.
Takes him down.
Even that kill onto Life was when he was like half health.
It was unceremonious.
So
yeah.
they don't even have high health pools either. So that damage that Zeka's doing, it doesn't add up to big numbers. He's still 9-1 with a gigantic bounty on his head. DNF with this wombo combo composition. They had a nice angle in the last fight, as you mentioned, but they just couldn't wombo the combo.
Couldn't wombo the combo.
They comboed, but they didn't wombo.
They gotta do both.
Yeah. I hate when you wombo and you don't combo as well. That just feels the worst. We're just gonna do the Baron now. DNF. The onus is on them. They're gonna TP in. They have to do something about this. And they will attempt to. But over the wall, okay, they're gonna put a nice ward. They spot the light. Good angle there.
Oh, Gigacon.
Oh no.
Faces out.
Zeka going in. A bit ahead of his team, but he has the Shroud as now looking for the kill, and they kill him before the Tark ultimate even hits him. And down will go Berserker, not even able to use his flash, as the wombo combo is going to be towards the side of Homolife Esports. It is a very one-sided affair. They get an ace 26 minutes in, and you know what that means. That'll be GG for Homolife Esports with the 2-1 victory, as long as they can push down mid and end this game right here.
They comboed, they womboed, and unfortunately for the DN Freaks, the losing streak will not cease on this day, although I guess their Nexus will be standing for a little bit longer, so maybe a bit too quick on the ending. But they're like 9k gold ahead, so Zeka can just go in to a bunch of people. They have a very clear goal. The fact that, oh my god, the Vital actually knocks life away so that Berserker... Again, it wouldn't have mattered! Wouldn't have mattered! Berserker couldn't do anything there.
They didn't end the game, but they did end life again. He's got 12 kills! Zeka has 12 kills! And he's getting a 13th! He just keeps getting more! You cannot stop this Akali! And he has 25 stacks. I mean, we were right about that, Chronicler, at least.
The Flash R2 for maximum disrespect. Just kill the Nexus. They don't need Baron. They don't need this. Come on, Hanwha. They've suffered enough.
It feels better if you push with Baron, though, because then all the minions are purple.
Not pink.
Not pink. They're actually purple.
They're actually purple.
Yeah, and they're all buffed up, so... Yeah, Red Bull Baron power play gonna feel pretty good in this one, as they should just be able to end it from here. If they really wanted to add some disrespect, they could take the Chemtech Soul. And you know what? They probably got a stern talking to after game 2, so I wouldn't be surprised if they do.
Someone has to face check. Unfortunately, 2 people face check, and neither of them live to tell the tale. Ooh, yeah, that was stylish. The Flash R.
너 해라.
I didn't hear it. He's like, look at him, you do you. Basically just... He's just talking big about his boys.
You know when you have players that are mains like one trick, so that are you know in high elo, and then they do a Smurf game for content, and they're like, look at me, he's doing it in the LCK, Veldes. There's a world champion on the enemy team. His world champion on the enemy team, and he has no mercy.
Well, he's playing that champion of Akali, which is one of the classic, in italics, one of the classic Zeka champs. And now I think they're just going to press their buttons and kill him. The equalizer comes down, the Tark ultimate utilized as well. They don't care this time, as they're just going to get into that backline. Viper finally picks up a kill again. Zeka nearly taken out, actually, is going to go golden. And there's a 14th. Can he make it a 15th? Yes, he can, because why not? Meanwhile, Zeus got a kill on Tadudu in the fountain. And so that will now be the end of game number 3. Homolife Esports will end this one. 24 kills total, but 15 of them went to their Akali player, Zeka, in the mid lane. And that'll do it. GG, Homolife with the win tonight.
Does Homolife bring this to an end? As we will have a little bit of a chuckle there to come through, as I need to pick my my POM. I actually think it's harder than you might think. I know Zeka just dropped 15, but I feel like after the first
I
four,
think it's
the game
Delight.
was kind of over. And guess what? I had already put in Valdez.
Oh, we're on the same page.
I'm on the same page.
Yeah, I can confirm. He didn't just listen to his play-by-play caster.
No, was already in.
Yeah.
As Jose is not his best day. I do like the little the Aurora swap. I think that is something that Humble Life, even though we don't give them, they're not quite as crazy as a team like DK. I do actually think that they, outside of that Game 2 draft, on average have been one of our best drafting teams. Feels like they're always able to find a great angle. Zeka, yeah, that third game, that was, again, highlight reel. Just
Yeah.
smurfing in LCK. It feels unfair because it was...
He's going to get the fan vote. He's probably going to get double media vote. But I still think that Delight deserves it.
So for me, the biggest factor was Delight's Poppy was extremely oppressive.
Yeah.
I also think Delight on Rel was the only good part about their Game 2.
And then he also set up all the fights in Game 3 on his Alistair.
Yep.
Which is one of his, one of his big picks.
If I lose to a boom boom damage vote, I'll take that. That's fine. I stand by my decision. I think Delight had a wonderful day today. Humble Life as a team took some liberties in Game 2, and then were, again, this is us assuming, promptly told off by Dandy, and then locked in for Game 3.
Yep, that they did. Happy gaming, nobody's immune. Humble Life Esports, T1, Gen G, anyone. They had a happy game. DNF took advantage of it. They had a great Game 2. Props to DNF. But when it came to Humble Life playing a good, solid game of League of Legends, DNF were not able to stand up to them.
And then you have DK, and it's not a happy game because that's just who they are.
That's just who they are,
just
yeah.
every single game. As Humble Life, still going to take the win. Game number 2 seemed like a distant memory as this game was not close. Well, this was over very early on. And talked a lot about Humble Life. For DNF, could have been Zillion. Don't think it would have changed the outcome whatsoever based on how this game went.
No, I don't think so.
But I do see improvement, and that's something when you're a team that's struggling this much. I think DNF have looked better every single match that we've seen them, which is a big deal because this match, realistically, we were expected to win. No, you got the one game win. I think that's quite nice. Might end up being a difference maker down the line, but all I needed was them looking better when they face up against Brion. And they definitely did here today.
They definitely did. We'll listen in as they absolutely massacre DNF in their own base. We'll see if they had anything funny to say towards the end. You got him. Okay, nice. Very straightforward. Nobody really saying anything. Okay, nice. As Peanut's like, everybody's really silent. Maybe the vibes are not exactly the greatest after Game 2, but it's still a very dominant Game 3 at least. And, a win's a win at the end of the day. So Zeka eventually ended up with more damage than Bulldog.
Oh, the Kali! Building only flat damage!
Yeah.
Oh, silly. Silly, silly, silly.
It was just one of those games.
It is just one of those games. What did we learn here today, Valdez?
Well, we're about to learn who the POM is first. So let's take a look at who did pick it up. And it will be Zeka, who does get it for his 1-1-4 Azir performance in the win in Game 1. Nicely done for Zeka. No, I'm just joking. I mean, I understand voting for him because his Akali game was so heavily one-sided that it just felt like he deserved it, right? But you and I, we were hipsters. We went for the guy who was a little bit more consistent.
Again, sometimes, especially when you're casting, sometimes you have PM calls where afterwards you're like, ooh, I don't know about that one. This one
is very obviously a good one.
But Zeka, come on, when you have a game that stylish, I don't really think you're going to be too bothered by it.
Yeah.
Might have also hinted towards what was going to transpire in my POM comments, so I hope that we run that one.
Well, guys, we're done here for now. We're going to have the interview, so I'll hand it over to Tyr for the translation.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Tyr for the POM interview translation, joined by Zeka, the super soldier on the side of Hana Life Esports. Congratulations!
DNF릭스 상대로 승리하면서 2연승을 이어가게 됐습니다.
You just took DNF down for your second win in a row. How do you feel? It feels nice to get our second win in a row. I know that we had struggled in the middle of our match, but I'm just glad that we're able to secure this win. And yeah, DNF really locked in game 2, and you ended up giving game 2 over to them. So what was the feedback there? I think they had a very early game-centric comp, and I think we ended up making too many mistakes in the early game, which went on to build a snowball over to them. And in game 3, the opponent showcased Misfortune and Tariq bot, and it's been a while since Tariq's last appearance. So what was the bot's reaction to this? I don't think we had much reaction to it. I think we did expect that it might be Tariq in the support because they had such a 5-man rush kind of a comp. But Delight was actually really good with dealing with that comp. So I think that was what really allowed us to secure the victory. And in game 3, we got to see your Akali, which was her first showing in the LCK this split, and you showcased just how different an Akali skin ever is. So what are your thoughts on the Akali versus Orianna matchup? I've actually been on both ends of this matchup. And as you are able to play it out and just try to solve the game, there are some moments that Akali can actually create a lot of playmaking moments. So I think that's what I was looking for, that angle. And of course, Hana Life Esports team fighting is always jaw-dropping. So from the players' end, how do you perceive it? I think Hana Life Esports is a group of players who are really good at team fighting. And I think we were able to take a lot of advantages through team fighting in the end. And Peanut has reached another big milestone. He became the first ever jungler to reach 5,000 assists in the LCK. So can you congratulate him? Congratulations on 5,000 assists. And getting so many assists means that you are really just giving away kills, so I hope that he gives me more kills in the future as well. And your next match will be a Saturday showdown with T1. It'll be quite an important match, so what is your resolution? I'm really looking forward to this match. I think this is something that we cannot lose. And I think after all the feedback to prevent all the mistakes that we made today, I think we will be really prepared for that T1 match. And that's the end of the interview with Zeka. Back to the space. Thank you.